about menstrual hygiene as well and pads campaigns. Yes, so they will be here with us on the lifestyle segment. And on the business segment, which is going to be our mainstream conversation today, we're going to be talking about the city and how it has appreciated and what it means for our livelihoods. And we're going to be joining Clement Abankwe. He's our business tycoon here. He's going to have his guests here, and they're going to be talking in depth about what it means for the city appreciation with our lives here. So next is our motivational quote for today, and let's prepare our hearts to be inspired. As we're beginning our week, it's always very prudent to be motivated. And here on the Koko Digest Morning Show, we intend to motivate our viewers to help them go through their week inspired. So today's quote says, "Failure is just as important as success. You can't appreciate success if you do not know failure. Failure is just as important as success. You can't appreciate success if you do not know failure." And this is by Ellen Johnson. Now, it says here that this quote emphasizes the value of failure as a learning experience and a stepping stone to success. Now, failure provides valuable lessons, builds resilience, and even helps us to re-strategize, refocus, and regroup. Now, it also says here that this mindset also allows us to approach success with a different set of determination, success, and perseverance. Yes. Now, it also says here that when we acknowledge failure, sometimes it even helps us to be able to achieve our accomplishments in a greater scheme than we initially planned. So, failure isn't something to be feared. It shouldn't be something that you're afraid of, but rather you should welcome it, because sometimes it helps us to just take a different perspective. Just like plants are pruned for the flowers to come out even more beautiful, that is the same way failure works for us in our endeavors trying to achieve success. And I leave this with you. The downfall of a man is never the end of his life. As they say, the only way is up, especially when we hit ground zero. So I hope that as you go through your day, you are inspired with this quote, share it with a friend, share it with a colleague, and keep that beautiful smile on your face as always. And we will see you in the online and newspaper review shortly.
To add all those test like application to something like this. Yes. Oh, that's quick. That's crazy. That was quick. He's gonna be able to draw a level. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Koko Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our online and newspaper review with my co-host. And I have here with me Miriam Abnadidi. Nanaya would be joining us shortly. So, good morning, Miriam. How are we doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. How about you?
I'm well. We haven't seen you here on the online news for a while.
Yeah.
Where did you go? Why did you leave us?
You know, they had just released Haja for real, so I went to the airport to go and receive her. And I was also settling the beef between Agrada and then Empress Gifty. So that was the thing I was doing behind closed doors.
Wow. So I'm sure you'll be giving us information on all these your exploits, right?
Yeah. I will. I will.
Yes, Nanayao is here with us. Good morning, Nanayao.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
As always, we are happy and we are grateful.
So your sports people, you people have been playing football. How is it going?
Well, yesterday we were beaten by the NSS personnel. We were beaten by 6 goals to 5. But it shows that we are not just maybe it's just lack of fitness, because you could see that the experience was there, but the fitness betrayed us. So.
Or maybe it's the age as well. Well, so I think we'll start with our trending news, and we have a short reportage by our colleague Clement Yabankwe on the decongestion exercise that's going on. So let's take a look.
Accra Metropolitan Assembly started a decongestion exercise that was last week, and they visited this very premises on last week Thursday. And you can't imagine that this place, you can't have a walk on the normal days. There will be hawkers and vendors all over this, but this time around pedestrians can walk happily. And you can see how they are moving. It's just a free flow for them, unlike before, which was full of hawkers and vendors. We'll be speaking with some of the pedestrians to get their view if they really like this exercise of AMA or they don't like this exercise. But since you're for Hade, you'll be on the Hade,
come up. The maintaining is because how much side and side in our one hand man, I won't be able to do at them. So Banasa, I don't know my pedestrians. I understand the jaws.
Okay. Yeah, that's it, baby. So did they continue this exercise?
Yeah, they should continue.
So previously, how was the walking like?
Hey, we were walking in a straight form.
A straight form?
Yeah.
Wow. So you're so happy?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm very happy. And thank the president.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Why?
It make free for here. Charlie, free.
So they should continue it?
Yeah, Charlie. If we get that, if we continue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's good to continue so that the base must be clean.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I like it the way the environment is very, very, very nice.
Okay.
It's very nice.
But people are complaining. What do you think about that?
Oh, you shouldn't listen to them.
Okay.
You shouldn't listen to them. They don't know the achievement.
Okay.
If you need achievement, unless maybe you do effort.
You do effort.
Without effort, you can't achieve.
Sure.
So if maybe always you are following, listening people, what you want to do, you can't do it.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Streets of Accra. I think is it Kaneshi? Yeah, yes, I know the town. Wow. So it seems that people are happy. Citizens are happy about the fact that the footbridge has been decongested. But you know, it brings my mind to the fact that we want nice things, but how willing are we? Because the clearing of this footbridge means that certain people are not going to have spaces to, you know, sell their wares. And so it's almost as though it is to the detriment of one person for the benefit of the other. But in the end, a lot of people are happy about it. But what about the vendors?
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Because when you ignore the rules and regulations set, you know, to guide a particular thing, and then you go ahead to do your own thing, in the long run, it will go against you. These people knew they were not supposed to sell there. And then they came and then they were selling there to the extent that those that rented shops, you know, in the market had to also come out with them to come and compete with them. So that is how come we ended up here. So they knew what they were, you know, bargaining for, and then they started. So I'm happy that I'm also speaking to this issue, because aside the fact that, it's going to affect them, government needs to take into consideration how to sort these people out, because in the long run, they are all Ghanaians. And this is something that someone has been doing for some time to survive. And so taking it from the person or sacking the person, you know, pushing the person into the market might not really serve, you know, the purpose as to like give benefits these people. But we know it's a good thing. Government should, you know, look into how to sort them out.
It reminds me of a post I saw one time. I think somebody was talking, I think it was a Nigerian, talking about culture shock, that they went to one of these Western countries, and I think he wanted to set up a vulcanizer shop just by the roadside, and he was cleared immediately because you need to get a permit to do that. And it's like, back in Nigeria, of course, you can just, and nobody would really give you any issues as opposed to the Western world. And it is giving him culture shock. He knows that, he knew that, okay, since I can't do this, I have to go and get a permit. He was amazed, and he was also pained. And I think these are some of the things we need to also emulate if our authorities are actually more strict with getting us to follow these rules. It will benefit us way more.
Yeah, it will.
So me, my concern with this is that is that of sustainability. So now we've seen this, and then we formed too much of a habit or a character in some of these instances that when governments come and then they do these decongestion exercises, after some time they fold, because enforcing it is expensive. You need to pay people that will be going on how do you call it, checks to go and ensure that people are being compliant with the decisions passed. So enforcement now becomes a serious issue for us. So how do we then enforce this particular one in a way that will not, because if I can say break the bank, or maybe make it a little more financially sustainable, because some of these things, if we don't pay attention, because we saw the last one happen in 2022, that's the decongestion exercise, the same Kaneshi footbridge, people were sacked, and then they even came, when they come back more.
Someone even said they bring their relatives from, you know, the rural areas to come in because business is booming.
So it's one thing that we have to also be wary of, and in sustainability to now individuals. I didn't see even one person complaining about the fact that they are not there, so it's inconveniencing them. So we as individuals as well, or people in the community, or as citizens, have to make sure that we play our part in enforcement. Sellers must make sure that they go to right places demarcated for them to sell. We've even seen road markings and street markings that you can sell behind this particular point. And I'm sure when you do that, it's fine. We also, who are not selling, buying, when you don't find it too convenient to buy from these places, make sure that you are going into the right places. Because when some of them come and then they display their goods by in unauthorized places, and you go and you tell them that, oh, I'll not buy from you because you are selling in an authorized place, but you're selling, I'm going to buy from this person, whether inside the market or within the market. I'm sure it will give a sense of responsibility to the sellers as well. That
I think adding up to that too, we need to re-emphasize the importance these things are going to bring to us as citizens. Free flow of human beings, free flow of vehicles, you know, there's no traffic. When places are choked like that, you know, transporting things become very difficult.
Yes. So
expensive.
Congestion.
So you get it. They need to let it sink in their heads that this thing we are doing is for our own good. It shouldn't be looked at, you know, in a politicized way. It's for our own good, as citizens, and it will serve. And
like Nanelle said, as the consumers also, we shouldn't be too concerned about convenience. The marketplace is there for a reason. The footbridge is not a marketplace. We shouldn't be looking, I mean, yes, the sun and everything, the laziness, yes, we want to get it conveniently. Why would you want to go deep into the market? But for the betterment of our nation, for our city, and for discipline, we need to also just sort of, discipline ourselves and go in there. Because when we go to the Western countries, we don't shout looking for pure water and things. You go to the appropriate places to make these purchases. If you know you are going on a long trip, you strap up and then you have your water bottle, your chips, your whatever, and then you go on your trip. So if we can emulate some of these behaviors, it would help us in the long run. So yes, Madam, you went to catch, you went to welcome Haja for real. So please, what is trending in the world of entertainment?
So we know for some time Haja for real has been missing in the news. You know, when she came out with her latest track with Shatawale, featuring Shatawale, that was the end. We didn't hear of her again.
Oh, okay.
Not knowing our sister was in prison in the United States, but by God's grace, she was released, I think, a few days ago and brought back to Ghana. And many Ghanaians are excited about it. Others have expressed their concerns as to she should come out and tell Ghanaians how the experience was, so that people will learn from it. Because, you know, she influenced many young ladies, you know, Haja for real. I mean, so if you've also tasted the bitter part of life, come and share your experience with us so that we learn from it. It shouldn't always be the positive, you know, side. That is what Ghanaians are also talking about. And also on social media, there is this tension between TikTokers, Ghanaian TikTokers, and our very own TV personality, Monaguchi. And it's just because Monaguchi said one of the TikTokers or some of the TikTokers were not to be celebrated. They are not celebrities. This is because of the TGMA's red carpet, when they were comparing outfits, you know, how some TikTokers took over this.
Was it the video that I saw where she was saying that, who is this person called Ahmed?
Yeah, that Ahmed is also one of the popular TikTokers we have in Ghana, and it was
influencers, yes.
So they all came at Monaguchi, you know, trying to tell her that, no, Charlie, you need to understand who a celebrity is, who a TikToker or influencer is.
But then,
that's the controversy.
With that issue, what exactly is the big deal? Whether you're an influencer, whether you are a celebrity, in the end, both parties do the same thing. They move the crowd, they are able to influence people. Because, like she mentioned, certain household names like Jackie Appiah. When Jackie Appiah is on the face of something, everybody moves towards it. When Ahmed is on the face of something, a lot of people would also move toward it because he's an influencer.
I would disagree with you.
No, so are you telling me his skit about the Kivo Gary, you know, trying to emulate what our mothers used to do? I think I saw one where, let me taste it. It's not nice. Let me taste it. And then she took the thing away. That alone makes people want to buy the Kivo.
I think I get the angle where Monaguchi is coming from, because someone like Jackie Appiah can be celebrated or is celebrated because of acting, you know, prowess and all that. And generations to generations, everyone knows Jackie Appiah. But today, not everyone knows Ahmed. Like,
yes, but okay, let's ask this critical question. Is Ahmed asking to be celebrated?
No.
So what then is the problem?
He is just putting it out there that they shouldn't consider themselves
what makes someone a celebrity?
What makes someone a celebrity?
Someone who is celebrated for something.
Because I feel then that's like really shallow when it comes to just the definition or because then you can actually do something and then you call yourself a celebrity.
Oh, yes.
And if even by the definition you are given that celebrating
what is the difference between that and an influencer?
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
I mean, there are a lot of things happening around. Maybe I'm getting too old, but
so, you know, if we are even going to be talking about the fact that doing something to be celebrated, what about the people making these large donations to like very serious issues like
Philanthropists and all
healthcare,
that.
philanthropy. They should
But
be
they are not known.
celebrities. They are not known,
Yeah.
you know, because like on your segment, we have two ladies who are coming
Yeah.
about their pads campaign.
Yeah.
These are people who should be lauded. These are people we should celebrate then. But then my problem with Monaguchi's thing is that she's sitting on her show and making these claims as though it's absolute. You know, opinions are not absolution.
Yeah.
You may view Miriam as a fair lady, most beautiful in Ghana, and then Nanaya is dark, so you may view him as the ugliest man on earth. But that is not absolute. Someone else would also
Yeah, I have an issue with that example.
because it is just an opinion.
Yeah.
So having that platform and using that to throw jabs at people, what then does it communicate about even the media space? What then does it communicate about where she's working?
Space, controversy sells.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that once you are getting, if she should
numbers,
actually go
yeah.
and then go and make another TikTok video concerning this particular topic, she's going to get a lot of views.
Yeah.
And then she may have achieved her target.
Considering the fact that traditional media is, you know, gradually
But
going out.
but in the end, the show she's on, what tag does it get? At the end of all the views, all the sales, what tag will that show get?
They don't care about
somebody
the
like
tags.
if somebody like Jackie Appiah we are mentioning wants to probably use a show for something, is she likely to use a show that was that gave the platform for someone to bash others?
It depends, because right now she's actually generated traffic, attention to
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
We're even sitting here
And
talking about
that
it.
attention is actually negative publicity for her.
No,
But publicity, all publicity is
It's
publicity.
We know about it. Tomorrow, if she puts a story about Jackie Appiah there, you see it. Definitely,
Yeah.
you may decide how you react to it is your own cup of tea, but you definitely see it. And then she may have achieved her goal.
Yes,
So-
but in the end, that's my problem. In the end, because
I think
from
in the
what,
end, it becomes a personal thing. How you feel about it.
That's it.
but what about the TV station that is given this platform? Because from what we know about the media space and even the kind when we hear of TV3, when we hear of GH1, when we hear of Clock TV,
Not to mention other names,
you
yeah.
know, what comes to mind? These are some of the things these media houses also need to think about, because like when we started, we were focused on the fact that we're going to be educating, informing and entertaining, but making sure we are also apolitical because we are in the civil service here. These are all brand titles that we are going to be giving ourselves. So what brand are they also creating for themselves? Because somebody may have started this TV station with their blood, sweat and tears, and one person, because of their show, runs it to the ground.
Yeah.
What happens?
Naira, it's unfortunate that we have to go by the things that sell. You know, negative publicity, as we all know, sells. And so for a show that, let me just say, does not have that the numbers, you know, people watching it, anything at all can be discussed on it, provided it brings, you know, the numbers so that I get paid. At the end of the day, it's the salary we are looking for.
Wow.
Put aside morals.
Well, so we have Let's Talk stuff coming up later today. They will be discussing all what we are discussing, just shedding a little light on it. So we move forward. So yes, tune in. I think it's at 3 p.m. Okay, so the repeat is tomorrow at 12 noon. So if you missed it today at 3 p.m., just tune in to Clock TV at 12 tomorrow and join Edna and Eunice as they discuss
There's
what
also
makes a
another trending
celebrity.
story which
Pardon?
is making rounds. That
Okay.
is, the MPP regional chairman for the Ashanti region, that's Koko Sako, or popularly known as Chairman to me. Yesterday, over the weekend, I should say, he mentioned that he was going to make an appearance at the police headquarters because he's been summoned to come and maybe to assist in investigation, which is usually termed as arrest. So he came and then he assisted them, but in the end, the issue was taken to court amidst claims of he being heavily involved in Galamsey, and he's been granted bail. The amount of the bail he didn't disclose to us, but he's been granted bail with 2 sureties. He mentioned that one of the claims that they said he was involved in was engaging in Galamsey in the deep forest. What he mentioned about that was he inquired about working over there or mining over there. But then the Forestry Commission also came or gave their reports that that place is a protected area by the Forestry Commission. So he is not supposed to mine in that area. And then he says, according to him, he's not followed up on it again. So if they are seeing people mining there, it's not him. And he also showed, he challenged the media that if they are ready, he was also ready to show them the permits, his mining permits by the Minerals Commission, by all the parties involved, and that he is not engaging in illegal mining, but he's engaging in mining. That's what he was saying.
Right.
We also saw some claims that some drones were flying over his residence and then were being shot down by either guns or by stones. We are yet to find out what actually shot the drones down. And a lot of things are happening. So it looks as though he's not in a comfortable situation at the moment. And I don't know whether this is being political or just tackling the issue of Galamsey. Remains to be seen. We'll be following this story keenly to make sure that we bring you reports of whatever happens or transpires in that situation.
All right. So
my issue briefly to this is the fact that Ghanaians should deter from, making claims about issues that, are likely to incriminate them or make it like worse. When you're arrested or the police comes for you or something, just keep quiet.
Yeah, they even tell you have the right to remain silent.
Why do you go out and then say things that later will be used against you? Oh, God.
Well, let's move quickly to our digitalized newspapers and we go to the online news. And so, who's going first?
Okay, so I have today's daily graphic with you. And on the front page, boldly written, 2,637 ECG containers retrieved.
Glory.
What did you say? 2,000?
2,637 ECG containers retrieved. Now, the Ministry of Energy has retrieved 2,637 containers belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana, twice the number of containers presumed to have gone missing with their contents. In an exclusive interview with the Daily Graphic in Accra yesterday, the spokesperson for the ministry, Richmond Roxon, said the committee investigating the 1,300 containers said to be unaccounted for rather discovered 2,637 containers at the port of Tema. So that is the story. So viewers can get more of that on
the
page 3.
retrieval, where did they get it from?
So I think they are still at the port, but maybe the documentation to track that they are for ECG was what was being. But in the end, right? You see, I've actually been seen a court case concerning an ECG issue, which later on reported or culminated in demurrage charges. A lot of it, because when it's at the port and then they've actually given you a note of delivery of the goods and then you are not coming forth for them, right? And then you also go and then you go and order for other ones. And then the ones that are supposed to be released are kept at the port and all that. It's actually, when you go to, I'm sure when you look in legal books, you can find the case of China Water Electric Corporation versus, that is the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. And you'll be able to find out the findings from this particular case. A lot of these times, in that particular situation, it was prepaid meters that the ECG called for them to be released to the port or ordered for. They came to the port and then the note of delivery was passed to ECG, but then they turned a blind eye to it, and then later on it attracted demurrage charges. By the time they were ready to receive them, the salt water had rusted.
My question is, these ECG contents that we are seeing in the containers, are they coming to Ghana to come and help expedite the works of ECG, or they are being taken out?
I mean, we've been talking about how do you call it, prepaid meters. We've been talking about cables and all that need to be changed and all that. But most of the time it delays, or that's the right. Most of the time it delays.
So those are the things in the containers that are supposed
I can't
to
say
come.
in absolute certainty, but if you are importing things to make life better, and then life hasn't changed, then it's almost likely to be the fact that it's these things that are there.
We'll be following for more updates.
Yeah,
follow
so
for more updates.
quickly take us through your graphic sports, then we go to the online news and wrap up quickly.
Today there's no graphic sports.
There's no graphic sports today, but
yes, but
is
then
there
in the world
anything
of
we should
sports,
look for?
I'm sure, let me hit on this again, I'm sure Manchester United fans will not be happy. They lost the Europa League final, and then the season has ended. Ghana, and there's a four-nation tournament happening in the United Kingdom at the Vitality Stadium, Bournemouth. Besides Ghana, Jamaica, Nigeria, and Trinidad and Tobago will be engaging in fierce competitions from that's next Wednesday going, and it's going.
What does that lead to? Is it
it's just a
AFCON or
friendly,
United
it's just a friendly
World Cup things or something?
No, it's just a friendly. You know, there's a lot of Ghanaian, Nigerian, Jamaican community in the United Kingdom, so they just want to foster some camaraderie.
And cause more rivalry. We are here. We're waiting for them.
So yes, we'll be bringing that as well to you from Wednesday. So interestingly, we'll be there to cover it as well.
Right. So let's go to the online news. Yes, I've realized some of our viewers are calling the WhatsApp number. Please, it is for WhatsApp messages only or text messages. So please do comply. You can send in your messages and your opinions here. We will read them out loud, or onto our Facebook or YouTube live stream. We'll read them out loud as well. So the very first story here says all staff from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs assigned to the Washington Embassy have been recalled. Now, it says here, all staff from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs assigned to Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C., USA, have been recalled immediately announced by the Minister of the Foreign Affairs, which is Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Now, additionally, all locally hired employees at the embassy have been suspended according to him. And he also announced that Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. will be closed for several days starting Monday, that was yesterday, May 26, 2025, as the government completes ongoing restructuring and system improvements. Now, this decision follows a critical audit report on the embassy's operations, particularly concerning its IT department, where Mr. Ablakwa further stated that the embassy's IT department has been immediately dissolved.
Taking our attitude outside the country.
So, from what I read, actually, there's a guy in the IT department who had created a link, was sort of diverting funds to his own company and charging even more for visa applications and things like that. And he's been caught now. So I think there has to be some audits going on there. And I mean, it's yesterday evening, listening to some of the radio stations, it's caused a lot of outrage, even from the opposition. And I think I listened partly to an interview that had the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, and he was not exactly happy. He was also expressing a lot of what's the word? Is it discomfort about the issue, because it's making it look as though all of these people are going to be out of jobs at some point, and it's like, does it have to be that the whole embassy needs to be closed down? Why can't it just be limited to the IT department or something? But then also, we know how they say the bad nut destroys the whole soup. So why not just do a small overhaul, check everything, check everybody, audit everything, just in case maybe this IT person was working with a whole group of people, and who could also be outside of it. So I think we should just wait and then hear what the government and the minister has to say.
But when I was also following the story, I just sat down and I was reflecting, on how vulnerable our IT systems in public institutions are. Although this happened outside Ghana, but coming down or back to our country, we can tell that most of our public institutions, the IT department, there are issues there. Because
don't let the IT guys come.
Oh yes, because I looked for examples to buttress my point, and from the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, which is SNIT, we are told that they spent over $72 million on a software system intended to digitalize operations, and investigations revealed that significant procurements irregularities and inflated costs came into, lead into exceeding the budget that was presented. And so money was wasted in that. Now, National Service, our very own National Service scheme payroll, also came out with 81,000 ghost names on National Service scheme payroll, indicating that there are lapses in our digital institutions, in these public institutions.
And you know, what you're also saying is I think it's true though, because sometimes we hear these amounts of money being pushed into creating a website or a mobile app for certain institutions, and you're going to see the quality of the website and you're wondering, who did this job? You know,
I really wish we could,
because we have really good IT technicians in this country. Tech has moved, forward in this country. We have a lot of experienced people, but somehow, like you're saying, these public institutions, their websites and their mobile apps, very questionable. Even some of the bank apps too. So it's what you're saying. I mean, I agree.
True, yes, because recently, Controller even cleared some ghost names from its system because apparently they are being paid money and they are nowhere to be found. So they have to clear their names out. So what are the IT departments or people in the IT department doing?
Or even how does registration even happen? Is there somebody who is able to put in some names?
We are in this country and people are using other people's details on their Ghana cards to register same problem, fraud them. So it's a big issue that we shouldn't just limit it to Washington, D.C. We should come back
taking us far away.
We've taken our bad attitudes, outside. And
but it's also quite alarming that, okay, well, it's the Ghanaian embassy, so we can't exactly fault them because Ghanaians are working there. But maybe because this is the U.S., Brown music could have been apprehended, or maybe it was through that he was apprehended or something, because maybe this has gone on for a while
5
now.
good years.
5 good years.
5 years. And he charges $60. Yes.
Hey.
$60 every single person.
At least $5, and then the price range was $29 to $60.
And he's been charging more than that.
So for this to actually happen, there should be parliamentary approval. Whenever extra fees are charged by a government agency, by the Foreign Affairs, there should be parliamentary approval. This hasn't been done, and he can't do this alone. Who gives authorized access to these IT infrastructure over there? But let's think about it. Not even the action. Let's think about the response to the action. Honorable Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa says that everyone from that particular, that's the Washington embassy has been shut down. Even locally employed staff there have been suspended.
Yeah.
So now, what happens to visa applicants who want to come to the country from the U.S.? Because that's the capital, and that's where our embassy is.
Well, that's what begs that they should be swift in action so that they don't impede the progress of certain people's application, even the way the place is to be run. Yes.
So as a leader, as Okujetu Ablakwa is, I don't think he will just clear everyone and leave the place vacant. Definitely, there are people on standby.
The place is vacant and has been closed down.
It has been closed down.
So recruitment process by the Foreign Affairs would have to take precedence because usually Foreign Affairs, when it's closed down, you come back to post, and then they repost you or redirect you because there's a number of years you need to work in a certain particular place. So others are also saying that this could be political because when you look at the U.S., it is a place that is, should I say, of very much interest when it comes to Ghana. And they want to control the people that are in office over there. So
I mean, they should come and give us information as to why they are using this method so that people will understand.
I'm just saying that this is the assertion that people are having. That because I've read comments on this particular story from various news outlets and online news outlets, and people are saying that this is propaganda just to take out the people that MPP employed out of that place to bring in people that the NDC want to actually put there or reward them from these particular places.
So the issue of this young man or this man who has been basically committing fraud for the last 5 years, what about that? How does this fit into this propaganda then?
So the action is that usually when it comes to this, the Attorney General opens an inquiry into the case and then he's prosecuted if found guilty. So then you look at the various people that can be sort of liable or to this particular cause, and then you just bring them to book accordingly, but not entirely closing down the whole thing. But I'm sure that would actually help assist in investigation, because now nobody can go to the office to go and tamper with any documents, can tamper with any.
One way or another, each method has its pros and cons, but of course, it's a developing story. So once more information comes, we will hear more about it. So the next story here says, Professor Ameao Ekumfi pleads not guilty and granted 10 million Ghana cedis bail in the $2 million SkyTrain case. Former GIIF board chairman, Professor Christopher Ameao Ekumfi, has pleaded not guilty to charges of willfully causing financial loss to the state, conspiracy, and intentionally misusing public funds in the $2 million SkyTrain case. The High Court has granted him bail of 10 million Ghana cedis with 2 sureties. He appeared before the High Court in Accra for the first time on Monday, May 26, 2025, in the ongoing trial regarding the failed $2 million Accra SkyTrain project. The court granted him bail of 10 million Ghana cedis, requiring 2 sureties to be verified.
Interesting. So, Yaira, now, how do we explain to Ghanaians that $2 million was invested into a project that never saw
the light of day? It was used for feasibility studies.
No, Yaira. So, you see, when we talk about failed promises and, we not aligning our priorities as government, people will come and say, oh, it's because Anyawa buying, it's because this, that. But please, I think it's high time we questioned the grand visions, the grand policies of, governments when they are coming into power. Because
and the companies that work with them, because there was SkyTrain Consortium. Who are these people?
No. We are Ghanaians. What are we going to use SkyTrain for? Like,
hey, madam, wait.
How are we going to buy plantain chips?
We want to buy. We are not hawking anymore. We've cleared the hawkers from our streets. Buy it from supermarkets and
even our normal rails, like the normal trains we know, the normal ones we grew to see, KJTI and those kind of things. What are their states? Like, what's happening to them? And we are moving from that to Sky.
I mean, it is technology. Yes, it's technology. This problem even starts from the fact that there was SkyTrain Consortium, only for that company to be known as almost non-existent, And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a time where a list of companies that were granted some amount of money, I think sort of loans, where some of these companies don't exist, they just exist on paper. I don't know if this is one of them. I don't remember, but I remember one. It was called Baguette Secured, and I saw it on social media where people were saying, so are they trying to say bag secured, like that slang that we use where you get money? Because, I don't know if you remember that a list of companies had come out where these companies were all non-existent but had gotten some amount of money from the previous administration. Was the SkyTrain Consortium also one of them?
Well, I've not seen that list, so
I'll find it.
I can't actually speak to that. But you see, when we have institutions that have been, let's say, set up for some reasons, and then we later on dilute the reasons for which they have been set, and then now we end up suffering for it. Why was the SkyTrain set up? SkyTrain was set up not to build railways in the air or anything, but it was set up with a seed money or seed equity of over 325 United States dollars to make sure that they attract investors into private investments when it comes to Ghana, the private aspect of the economy. And as to how it happened for them to be given or to be awarded the contract, or to be given, because we have the Ministry of Roads and Highways, we have the Ministry of Railways, even then. So if you are doing a railway project, why was it not given, or why was it not spearheaded by the Ministry of Railway and then the board chair and then the CEO as well, Mr. Solomon Asante, who is also being called? And then I heard this particular man, that's the board chair. His passports and everything has even been taken from him. He has to lodge it at the police station, and he's 80 years. So
at what age was he?
Yeah, but let's take a comment and then we wrap up quickly. Our time is fast spent. So HM Joe says, from a guy who was in the previous administration, he raised this issue then, but the man in question told him personally that it won't amount to anything and that what he's doing involved people in the embassy as collaborators. Hey, would you be able to? Thank you so much. Next is our lifestyle segment. Our time is fast spent. This issue, I'm sure we'll continue on Thursday. So lifestyle segment, if you can briefly tell us. Okay. So right after this break, the lifestyle segment will be here. Miriam will give us all the information when she comes on set.
In a world where neutrality in the civil service is paramount, Ghana finds itself at a crossroad.
Clause Act says that a certain action should be taken, but government has to act on the basis of law. So we inquired as to what the premise for that demand is.
They say if you wish to broadcast or otherwise manifest your political allegiance or run political office, step away from the services. This is Supreme Court talking. It's not Closak speaking or Isaac Wampado speaking. This is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court judgment on the landmark case of Clockside versus the Attorney General has set the stage for a profound transformation. Introducing Resetting the Civil Service. Tune in to be part of this change, because a better civil service means a better Ghana.
I find it refreshing always when I remind myself of the profound statement by the eminent civil servant, Lieutenant Anankwa of blessed memory, to the effect that it is the perfection of the civil servant that will move this country forward, and not the politician.
This is how we do. M-I-M-I, Divalish, aka, you know the name?
Ghana music has really been
for in-depth discussions surrounding employment relations, the rights of workers, the quest for industrial harmony, and evolving landscape of work. Wala to Walasa seeks to bring to bear the challenges and opportunities facing the labor force today, making a significant contribution to public discourse.
My name is Edmond Akwe, your host for Wala to Walasa.
In a world where neutrality in the civil service is paramount, Ghana finds itself at a crossroad.
CLOSAG says that a certain action should be taken, but government has to act on the basis of law. So we inquired as to what the premise for that demand is.
They say if you wish to broadcast or otherwise manifest your political allegiance or run political office, step away from the services. This is Supreme Court talking. It's not CLOSAG speaking or Isaac Wampado speaking. This is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court judgment on the landmark case of CLOSAG versus the Attorney General has set the stage for a profound transformation. Introducing Resetting the Civil Service. Tune in to be part of this change, because a better civil service means a better Ghana.
I find it refreshing always when I remind myself of the profound statement by the eminent civil servant, the Tan Anankwa of blessed memory, to the effect that it is the perfection of the civil servant that will move this country forward, not the politician.
This is how we do. M-I-M-I, Divalish, aka, you know the name?
Ghana music has really been has really been doing great stuff.
Whenever Mr. Drew's on stage, it's a blast.
Are you ready? in 2025 Unity Cup. Inaki Williams wins La Liga African MVP again. Ex-Man United manager Ten Hag named Leverkusen boss. Now to the main story. Coach Otu Addo has named his 23-man squad for the upcoming Unity Cup in London. Newcomer Joseph Tete Annan, a goalkeeper playing in Ireland, and his first call-up. Key players like Abdulaziz Issa, Aaron Essel, Caleb Urenchi, and Mohamed Gaddafi Husseini are included. Returning to the team are Abdul Samed Salis, Felix Afenya-Jan, and Majid Ashmeru. Ghana will face Nigeria on Wednesday, May 28 at the G-Tech Community Stadium, with the winner advancing to the final on May 31. Coach Otu Addo has selected 4 Ghana Premier League stars for the Unity Cup. Kamaradini Mahmudu, Razak Simpson, Benjamin Asari, and Kwame Poku have all earned spots. Midyama FC's Kamaradini Mahmudu has impressed with 8 goals from right back. Nations FC captain Razak Simpson adds leadership to the defense. Hearts of Oak's Benjamin Asari returns as goalkeeper after strong performances, and Asante Kotoko's Kwame Poku rejoins the team after a prolific run. Their selection underscores the national team's renewed confidence in home-based talent and signals the Ghana Premier League's continued importance in nurturing future Black Stars. Now to our international sports news. For the second consecutive year, Inaki Williams has been named Sporting La Liga's African Most Valuable Player. The Athletic Bilbao winger received the award in Spain, edging out Villarreal's Pape Gueye and Osasuna's Enzo Boyomo. Williams, who has played his entire professional career with Bilbao, contributed 6 goals and 8 assists in 35 league appearances this term. Despite switching his nationality to represent Ghana in 2022 and earning 22 caps, the 30-year-old was notably absent from the Black Stars 23-man squad for the 2025 Unity Cup in London. Coach Otu Addo is using the tournament to evaluate new players. Erik ten Hag has been appointed as the new head coach of Bayer Leverkusen, signing a 2-year contract. This marks his return to management after leaving Manchester United in October. Ten Hag won the Carabao Cup, FA Cup during his time at United. Leverkusen sporting director Simon Rolfs praised Ten Hag's experience and success with Ajax. Ten Hag replaces Xabi Alonso, who has moved to Real Madrid. Leverkusen finished second in the Bundesliga last season. Ten Hag will begin his role on July 1st, aiming to build on the club's recent achievements. And that is the latest on the sports update segments. Now to my co-host, Nanayo Asari. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, Charlie. The story that has caught my attention in all of this is the one that the new players that were called. I've gone through the list and I've seen players like Joseph Tete Annan, who keeps or mans the post for Patrick Thistle in the Scottish second division as well. And I've seen Abdulaziz Issa, who was recently released by Barcelona. I've seen Aaron Essel as well, Caleb Urenchi, Mohamed Gaddafi Husseini, all who are making their first appearances. But one issue that actually comes to mind or comes to bear, looking at the extent to which the Ghana Premier League is gone. Now we have 4 Ghanaian players. Almost all of them are playing a part in the title showdown. We have Midyama SC's Kamaradini Mahmudu, who is not evenly involved in that is the quest for championship when it comes to the Ghana Premier League. Razak Simpson, Nations FC are first on the league
playing
table.
A very good role.
Playing a very good role.
Yes.
He's their captain. He's their leader. And losing him for the final 2 games of the season for friendlies.
it's going to be tough. It's going to
Benjamin
be tough.
Asari as well, Hearts of Oak, who were prior to this week also in the offing of winning the Ghana Premier League. And then Kwame Poku Kotoko, we all know how Kwame Poku was firing for them.
Very clinical. Very good
now
player.
He's no longer with them in their setup, and then we are seeing the difference that it's making. So is the timing of the friendly really that good? Did it help our local league, or we're just focusing on the foreign leagues and all that. Because when you look at these players and then the roles that they are playing in the quest for championship, in the quest of titles in the Ghana Premier League, and you look at how important they are, and then they being called whilst the league is ongoing. For the Unity Cup, which is just a mere friendly to evaluate new players. Most of these players, right, apart from Kwame Poku, have been in the national team one way or the other, and now you're just calling them out to just go and make sure that they come and have a feel of these friendlies.
I think this is also a good opportunity for some of our local-based players.
But most of the time, when the local-based players are called, they don't get to play. They don't get to play, and that's the issue. Besides the last period where Benjamin Asare was called to man the post, besides the last period where that is Razak Simpson was called to actually come and play a part. When we had already lost qualification to the Africa Cup of Nations. So these are the main reasons why they are being used, or they are called.
So you think this is more of a waste of their time?
Not a waste per se, but I'm sure that if the organizers of this particular one had the Ghana Premier League in mind, if they had it at their hearts, they could have scheduled it differently.
Because considering the Premier League,
yes, the Ghana Premier League,
games
Nations FC are going to lose their captain for the final 2 games of the season. You know how instrumental he is in their dressing room. You lose him, and then it looks as though you may end up losing your final 2 matches. Their last game of the season is against another title contender in Heart of Lions. So when you look at these two and you compare, why then are they scheduling these league competitions? Why didn't they schedule it in the hearts when the English Premier League and other leagues were going on? But rather the local league where we are sort of trying to rebuild and refix, and then you actually do this. So that is my main fracas with this particular one. But apart from that, it's a very good opportunity for the players to showcase their talent.
Well, unfortunately, this is what we have. But I think for most of the players too, they deem this as an opportunity to express themselves, to show what they have. So let's make it while the sun shines.
Not only express themselves, to make some extra money as well, because the money that they are going to make from for appearing in these games, if they qualify to the next phase, is actually going to be more than maybe what they've earned throughout their entire season at their various clubs or their respective clubs. So that's one of the reasons why they may be also in a haste to actually go.
Let's take this other story. Naki Williams winning it again for the second consecutive time, the Sporty La Liga MVP player. What do you think?
So when Iñaki Williams comes to mind, one thing that actually hits my head or comes to the fore is consistency. Iñaki Williams is one of the most consistent African players when it comes to the La Liga. There was a time that he was even awarded as one of the players with the most consistent outings without injury. I think he played continuously for 286 La Liga games. That is no mean feat, continuously, without even missing one. So that is Mr. Consistency. And then now, especially in 2022, after he declared his intentions of being of playing for Ghana, the motherland, now he's won back-to-back. In 3 years, he's won MVP twice. But when you look at the stats once again, 6 goals and 8 assists. For a player of his caliber, looking at where he is, you expect a little bit more from Iñaki Williams, because a player of his caliber should be giving you more output. But he's a player that, without the goals and the assists, other numbers speak for him. The number of runs, the intensity of tackles, the pressing, the pressures that he gives to the opposition, and he makes the entire team click. So maybe it's one sacrifice for the other.
So what about his appearances for the national team? You know, Iñaki Williams, we were expecting sort of goals. Let me put it that way. We were expecting some sort of performances from Iñaki Williams. Comparing Iñaki Williams with his club and the national team, people really doubt that he can provide. Is it because he's not gelling with the team members in the national team, or there is something wrong? There is something missing. Because when you watch Iñaki Williams in Atletico Bilbao, He's so clinical. His finishes are good. He hasn't scored a lot of goals, but anytime he's with the ball, he makes sure there is an impact. But with the national team, we saw less of that.
Well, Iñaki Williams has never been a striker to rack up numbers of 15 goals, 20 goals a season. Okay. He's never been that kind of forward. What his role is, whenever he's on the pitch, he makes other players better. Okay. We've seen that even his own brother, Nico Williams, playing alongside him, making runs, sacrificing for the team. Ante Budimir, who is actually striking for them at the moment. Look at the number of goals that he's given. Look at the chances that are being created. Either Inaki is creating them or he's occupying defenders for Budimir to be able to
just
score
drawing away
goals. So that is the kind of player that Iñaki Williams is, drawing attention away from the people that scores. And he does that so selflessly. And when he comes to the Black Stars, he's being overly critical because they are not being we are not being used to. We don't want you to create chances for other people. We want you to score the goals yourself. That is what we want you to do. So far, he scored, I think, 2 goals for the national team, all crucial goals. One helping us to qualify for the World Cup, and both helping us to qualify for the World Cup or in the qualifying phase. But it remains to be seen whether he's going to be that focal point or number 9 for the Black Stars.
Well, it's been a long season. It's going to be a longer season to next season. We are hoping for the best. And thank you very much, my co-host, Nanaya Wasari. And that is it for the latest in the sports news. Under the sports update segment, my name is Benedict Nkatia Kwating. Joined with me was Nanaya Wasari. Next, we have the lifestyle segment with Mimi.
To add all those test spots, like application to something like this.
That's quick. That's crazy. That was quick. He's going to be able to draw level. Yeah. Wow.
Platform for in-depth discussions surrounding employment relations, the rights of workers, the quest for industrial harmony, and evolving landscape of work. Walatu Walasa seeks to bring to bear the challenges and opportunities facing the labor force today, making a significant contribution to public discourse.
My name is Edmond Akwe, your host for Walatu Walasa.
In a world where neutrality in the civil service is paramount, Ghana finds itself at a crossroad.
CLOSAG says that a certain action should be taken, but government has to act on the basis of law. So we inquired as to what the premise for that demand is.
They say if you wish to broadcast or otherwise manifest your political allegiance or run political office, step away from the services. This is Supreme Court talking. It's not Closak speaking or Isaac Wampado speaking. This is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court judgment on the landmark case of Clockside versus the Attorney General has set the stage for a profound transformation. Introducing Resetting the Civil Service. Tune in to be part of this change, because a better civil service means a better Ghana.
I find it refreshing always when I remind myself of the profound statement by the eminent civil servant, Lieutenant Anankwa of blessed memory, to the effect that it is the perfection of the civil servant that will move this country forward, and not the politician.
Telling us that Adam Nana, what a beautiful way to welcome you to the lifestyle segment here on the Koko Digest Morning Show. I am Miriam Abena Adidi. Now, tomorrow, Wednesday, 28th May, is World Menstrual Hygiene Day, a day set aside to appreciate and acknowledge, the concerns of young adolescents with regards to menstrual hygiene. Now, we know menstrual hygiene or menstruation is a natural flow that is part of our lives, yet many young girls still face challenges when it comes to that. Because studies have also revealed that about 28% of young adolescents across Ghana have, missed schools during their periods, especially because they do not get access to sanitary products and also proper facilities. Now, when you go to the rural areas, the situation is worse. When you go to the rural areas, it is damning. Now, that is why this conversation is important, because we want to relieve young girls, we want to relieve young adolescents as to how to take care of themselves during this period. And so tomorrow's celebration is very, very important. And with me in the studio is a young, dedicated lady who has put herself aside to support young girls in changing the narrative when it comes to menstrual hygiene. She is in the person of Brittany Tachi, founder of the Brittany Tachi Foundation, and she is going to be my guest. I think Sonia Barikiso Alma will also be joining us very soon. Admittedly, we'll be having a phone-in session with a health practitioner to also give us the health side of this conversation. So don't forget that you are a part of this conversation via our streaming platforms, Facebook and also YouTube, and also our WhatsApp number on your screens right now. You can send in your comments so that we read them out. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend that we are talking about menstrual hygiene. Hello, Brittany.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, have you had your breakfast? My usual question I ask my guests when they come on the segment. You've not had your breakfast?
Oh, yes.
So here we take cocoa, or you prefer tea?
The cocoa.
Okay, so tomorrow is World Menstrual Hygiene Day. To you, what does it mean when we talk about menstrual hygiene?
Menstrual hygiene is basically telling girls to be aware of their period hygiene and then encouraging them to practice good menstrual hygiene and then also help them get the pure supplies that they need.
Okay, and I know you have a foundation that has been donating to girls, but why did menstrual hygiene become the focus of your foundation? Why didn't you look at other pressing needs?
So initially, we actually didn't start off with menstrual hygiene right away. We were doing orphanage drives and then stationary donations as well. But then in 2021, I think a couple of people drew our attention to the issues surrounding menstrual hygiene, especially in rural areas in Ghana. And I remember a friend shared a news headline, and I think the headline read, girls exchange sex for sanitary pads. And that was so alarming, so we just knew that immediately we had to also look in that direction as well.
And how has the response been so far, when you support these girls? What are some of the reactions you receive from them?
So most of them are very excited to receive the sanitary pads, and then even the school heads and then district heads and teachers, they later call us to give us feedback of how the donations and sanitary pads we give to students have helped them, especially in their academic life. In most rural places, you find out that the girls miss school when they are menstruating, they don't come to school. So as time goes on through our sanitary pad donation exercises with other organizations in the north, I'm sure they are facing a positive situation as at now as compared to 4 or 5 years ago.
No, okay. Because in my introduction, I made mention of the fact that when you go to the rural areas, this situation is worse. But I'm happy that you've mentioned that it has changed, because comparing now to previous years, it wasn't like that. So what were some of the things you have been to the northern part of Ghana to donate, right? What were some of the situations you found that, prompted immediate action to donate to them?
So in the north, we we didn't actually go. We had a partner organization in the safe menstruation movement, SAMO, that we used to work with. So they would do the research on ground, and then their facilitators were mostly teachers. So they spoke to the students, they knew the reality. So they would do the legwork on ground, bring us the statistics, what is happening in and out of the school. And then, so I think an issue came where they were like, in a month, if there's like a class of, it has 5 girls, 3 out of 5 are not going to come to school when they are menstruating.
Okay.
And that's quite, not quite, that's very alarming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we had to take our projects in the north. So from 2023, 2020 to 2024, our projects were in the north. They were not running in Accra or other regions. They were solely in the north. And then in the north, we didn't have we had like so many, I think about 3 projects in a year, just to ensure that we tackle that issue as soon as possible. And then as of now, we have had very encouraging feedback from there.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the challenges. With every, move, there are challenges that are bound to occur. Tell us some of the challenges you encountered as a foundation.
So, we actually have like fundraising challenges, like money is hard to come by, especially now. So there's a lot of difficulty in raising money, and then aside raising money, like how to get to the locations and stuff. Because remember in the north, there was one place that was so cut out from town that car doesn't go there. So they had to make do with motorbike, gear, and then imagine transporting boxes of sanitary pads, and then at a point they have to cross, like they said at a point they had to take off their shoes, walk in muddy waters, and then had to balance the pads on their heads. And then they sent pictures, and I was like, wow, this is actually work.
Yeah.
So aside that too, and also reaching places that are like out of, because on our next project we spoke to some schools, and then according to the head, some of the schools are so far away that they'll not be able to make it to town. So we have to also find a way of taking the project to them. So we have that logistic challenges, financial challenges. Yeah.
Okay, and as a young girl who has been embarking on this for some time, most ladies or most leaders who are ladies or women have advocated that pads should be free. We shouldn't sell pads. How realistic do you think this goal is, in achieving that pad-free or cost-free pad distribution?
For me, I believe that it's a process.
Okay.
So now I think that they are starting with the girls in senior high school, like the free SHS, like the free pads policy. There's something like that has been enrolled. So I think that we won't wake up to one day that pads are free, but then we can get there. Right now, there are a lot of taxes on sanitary pads. So if those taxes can all be removed, they removed pads, but then those are like for the pads that are manufactured locally. But then the local companies cannot supply the whole nation if we're being realistic. So to begin with, I think that they should scrape off all the taxes on sanitary pads, because when you go to the shops now, you see always some are as high as 70 cedis. You have tampons going for that much, and then it's very, very expensive. So if they scrape the taxes off the sanitary pads, they become very affordable. Because like 10, 15 years ago, when we were buying pads for 3 cedis, 4 cedis, you didn't even hear the conversation that there was like this problem there. We only started talking about it when it became so expensive that people had to, like, in modern times, they had to rely on other methods that are very unsafe. So we can start by scraping the taxes of the sanitary pads, and then the free pads policy, it's actually a very good policy. But then everything, I believe it's a process. How many of the companies that produce pads are like state-owned? So when this conversation came about that government is going to supply, I was like, oh, they have to build the factories first. They were like, no, if they build the factories, they'll run them down. But then at the end of the day, we're looking at how many women are in Ghana. And it's not that maybe every 5 women, there's 2 that are menstruating. Almost every woman menstruates. And some, even now, some starts as early as 10 years. So, and it's 10 to like menopause sets in. So we have like a lot to supply. So if the taxes come down, it's going to make them affordable. And that one, aside government coming in to other people too can chip in as well, because pads are like so expensive.
Is that not going to affect founders of foundations like you?
No, it doesn't affect it, because we are not just handing out the pads, we're also giving them the menstrual hygiene and health education as well, because the pads is just one aspect of it. People have access to the pads, but then they don't even know that they are supposed to change their pads 2 to 3 times in a day or something. When we go on outreaches, we have young girls telling us that they wear one pad for a whole, like they wear it in the morning and then cycle it to the next day, which is detrimental to their health. So it's not just about giving them the pad. You have to show them how to use it, how to dispose it and stuff like that. So the work of NGOs that are into menstrual hygiene is not over yet. Even right now, to me, I feel it's like a better opportunity for us, because right now when we're going, government is helping with the sanitary part. So your cost of operation becomes less. Right now, all you need is your logistics and then your teaching materials to go there and then educate the children. So I think our work has now begun, because now that the pads are there, people are going to become lax on the knowledge aspect of it, which is what we need to intensify.
And speaking on that, do you involve parents in educating, these young ones as to the use of the pads, menstrual hygiene, and even personal hygiene? Do you involve the parents, because they are close to the young ones than you?
So mostly because we go during school hours, we go straight to the students and then the teachers. So we mostly encourage the teachers and the heads of the school that during PTA meetings, they should re-echo our words to the parents, because it's a 50-50 approach. The school can't do everything, and then the parents can't do everything. So everyone has to come on board to make sure that it's working. You have children who are very good at home, and then when they get to school, they are different. So that can also like interplay. So someone may come to school dressed very decently, good mesh, like when they are coming to dinner, they have to bath, they have to put on deodorants, but then when they get home on the weekend, like Friday evening to Sunday, it's holiday on personal hygiene for them. So we do encourage the teachers to also inform the parents, because right now, like this personal hygiene is in the decline. Like you meet children and then you're like, have these children heard of lemon? And then it's like, to some extent, we don't blame them, because all those things have become very expensive. We were having a conversation the other day, and then like deodorant, the deodorant spray is about 70 cedis. The roll-on is about 25 cedis. Like a couple of years ago, like 5 cedis. And then like lemon was so cheap, like all those things were so easy to get. But then right now, to go to the market and search for lemon, you have to like actually search. And it's not just there. So like all those things, so right now we've actually added personal hygiene to. At first it was menstrual hygiene, but then right now we've come to add personal hygiene and made it a whole talk on its own. That it's not just menstrual hygiene that you are keeping. You also have to keep up with your personal hygiene as well.
Wow. Now people are moved by stories. Can you share with us one memorable story on how you touched lives by donating some of these products, during your outreaches? Can you share one, so that people watching can be moved to support your foundation?
Certainly. So in last year in July, we normally have the pads campaign in May, which is like 28. So after the 28, we went to OT region, and then I think a friend posted it on their story or status, and then another teacher in Mampehia, it's actually a school in Accra. She heard about it, and then she also wrote to us telling us the difficulties and challenges that they are facing with their students with regards to menstrual hygiene. We don't budget we only had like one program a year, but then looking at how the situation was, we know that we had to take quick action, mobilize some funds internally, and then go there. So we go there, and then speaking to the teachers and students, some girls actually free bleed on their, I don't know if you know what free bleed, like they have no sanitary pads, so it just flows as and when it comes, and then they bath as and when they have to, so they don't even come to school at all. So that day we gave them sanitary pads, like individuals to the girls, and then we also set up a pad bank in the school. So the pad bank there's always pads at the school. So you can't say that there are no pads. So even if you don't have pads at home, when you come to school, you get pads. So I think with the pad banks, we had over 1,000 pads in the pad bank. So I communicate with the teacher every now and then she's telling me that their attendance rates have actually come up, especially with regards to the girls.
Okay.
And then the pad bank that we put in July, I just had a text from her this morning that they are running low, so we need to like refill. So from Imampe, and then the stories at Imampe here, it was so like it was so serious that they were like some of the girls don't even have pants. So if we had come during the break time when they are playing Ampe, we would have just confirmed for ourselves. But for me, I was like, it's unbelievable.
Okay.
So yeah, so like the situation has improved, so, and I'm actually very happy because this is a place in Accra. It's not in a rural area. It's in Accra.
Yeah. And this is happening.
Yeah, that is happening. So you can imagine how bad it is. And then, you know, the logic is that if you are poor in an urban place, no one will come and give you anything because they presume that everyone that's in an urban place is okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that that situation has been solved. And then with the pad banks there, the girls are actually doing amazing. And I think last year, BC, I think they had one girl going to Pantomime from that place. And then I was so surprised because they're like, the attendance for the girls were actually that bad. That teachers had to like buy sanitary pads for. Like sometimes they spot good students and then they realize that they are missing out on class and things and then they get to find out this is the situation and then they have to like take money out of their purse to buy sanitary pads for them to ensure that they can come to school. So we are actually very proud of that achievement, and then there have been quite a lot from the other regions that we've been to as well.
Right. But speaking on, you know, situations like this happening in the urban areas, don't you think over the years we've been silent on menstruation or menstrual education because we don't talk about it? Even parents do not talk about it with their kids. So beyond the donation of pads and sanitary products, what do you do to these young girls to, you know, empower them to confidently accept the fact that they have to menstruate? What do you do? Like, what else do you do aside the donation?
So we mostly encourage them to also talk about menstruation. You know, some of them, like even when they are having issues, their period has not come and stuff, it's like, I don't know, it's like they are so shy or they feel it's like something that they don't talk about. So it's like they just wait as and when it comes. So you can't even track when they are having like health challenges with regards to menstruation. So we encourage them to go to their teachers, go to their parents, irrespective of whether if it's a man or a woman. At least if you tell a man, you will definitely find a woman to ask for something. We encourage them to talk about it. And then in the schools too, we encourage the teachers to talk about it. We find out that even though, you know, in school, I think they have reproduction as a whole subject in science. We find out that the teachers don't teach menstruation because they are like, Abi, you know that you're already experiencing it, or you have mothers and sisters at home. So like when you get it, they just skip it. And then that was actually contributing to the problem because the knowledge we have at home is mostly like home knowledge. There's no science to it. It's like hearsay, and then you can but then the one in the textbook, it's actually like from A to Z. It contains everything that you need to know. And then I think last year in OT region, we were teaching them how to different types of menstrual products. So you know, there's the sanitary pad, the disposable, and then the reusable, and then there's a menstrual cup, and then there's a tampon. So we were teaching them how to put in a menstrual cup and then a tampon. And then one goes like, but if I urinate, it will come back out. And then we're like, why do you think it will come back out? And then so the confusion was that they thought that their vagina opening and then their urine bladder were the same spots, which was like and then we had teachers also asking the same question, and then we're like, this is serious. The conversation needs to go on, so that it's like they don't even know their reproductive system. So we encourage teachers to foster that conversation in and out of the classrooms. Talk about it. When you meet a student, you have to like ask her how she is faring in that aspect of her, so that if there are things that she needs to tell you, she can tell you, and then if there are solutions to be made.
So in your opinion, would you say menstrual hygiene education should be inculcated in our, you know, educational curriculum? Would you
say that?
Yes, not just educational curriculum. Like it has to be a topic in the churches, at our work. Even look at the workplace right now. I'm not sure if one lady at the front there needs a pad. She's going to just like say it out loud. It's going to go from like, oh, Abba, do you have a pad? So like that. So at the end of the day, she can even be like staying there, then the men will know nothing about it, because like we feel so shy and then suppressed to like talk about this. So these are conversations that we have to foster, not just amongst women, but then the men too have to know as well. This is something that we've actually planned to bring on board, that now that the government is going to like supply the parts, we can actually get the time to also engage the young men as well, because they need to know what is happening. It's not happening like every girl around you is menstruating. And you know, girls have when menstruation is like Wi-Fi. Once one girl is menstruating in like a room, there's the possibility that another person will pick it up. So they need to also be involved in the conversation, so that when we start complaining of cramps and things, they don't become like, oh, we are being weird. So when they get to understand it, it's also good for us, because then when we can't like put up our weight at work because we're having menstrual issues and stuff, they understand and then they can empathize with us. But then if we keep them away from the conversation and stuff, you know how it's going to go, that, oh, you people, churches and stuff like that. So we need to like bring them aboard and rope everybody into the menstrual health
I like the fact that you
conversation.
brought in workplaces into this conversation, because as old as we are, we still experience cramps and other things. What advice will you give to employers as to how to handle ladies, at workplaces, and also those that are not conscious of their menstrual cycle? What can they do to always have a pad by their side, something like that?
So for me, I believe that every workplace should have like a pack of pads in the doors washroom. Like every workplace, every employer should just make sure that
someone will come and take everything home.
Well, if not, then they should add it to like the packages every month. They should give the girls pads, because it's something that happens, and then I think that they should encourage girls to like talk about it. When I was working in a bank, my boss was very understanding. Like me, when I menstruated.
Was he a male or female?
I had a male boss and then I had a female boss. So both of them were so understanding, because the man has children, and I'm sure the children are in their teenage years, and then they definitely experience what I experienced. So when I tell him I have cramps or something, like they understand it so well. Even when I was doing NSS, when I'm menstruating, he's like, oh, if you are going to like have cramps, then maybe you take the day off. And then this does not happen everywhere. Like some people, if you tell them that you cannot come because of cramps, your cramp will be waiting for you when you come. So they should make the workplace more relaxed and then encouraging for us to like talk about our periods. And then with some women, it's not just menstrual cramps. There are actual issues. Like, let's say if a woman has a fibroid, like someone dealing with fibroids, when they're menstruating, it's going to be like a different case altogether. And then it's not just, you may think it's just menstruation, but then there are other underlying health problems that needs attention as well. So I think they should make it more relaxed for us to come and tell them that, oh, because we are experiencing menstrual cramps and stuff today, our output and our energy at work would be low, because they especially like that, maybe it should be hey, but then you know how it is. You can't be hey every day. So they should actually encourage us to also come out and be ourselves. Not that when we are menstruating, we have to put on another gown and be strong.
Okay, so we have this comment from Sewa, and she's saying that thank you, Mimi, for bringing the workplace into this conversation. I was really waiting to hear this. I hope my boss is watching. Oh, Sewa. So employers, we are pleading that you make the workplaces more flexible for your workers. I mean, female workers, when we are going through that time of the month, please understand us. Give us the day off. Nothing will spoil.
Are you asking for the whole 5 days off or 1 day?
I'm just saying. But let's come back to your foundation, Brittany Techi Foundation.
Yeah.
How long have you been in operation?
5 years.
5 years?
Yes.
Wow. And what do you do?
So aside menstrual hygiene, we also do stationary drives to support education, and then orphanage drives. Orphanage drives are to ensure that the orphanages are always equipped with clothing, food, and then sometimes some of their challenges we can't solve them for them. So we just push it to the authorities that we think are needed. We were working with one orphanage that had HIV positive children. And you know how they are supposed to be on meds like every day, and then there was this issue of the medicine not coming in, and they know sometimes having access to them. So with this, it's beyond that. So we just push it to the appropriate authorities and then encourage people to also help them in that regard.
Oh, I see. So can you hint on some of the challenges you face as a foundation, if there's someone watching that can, you know, help you in that regard?
So as I mentioned earlier, the logistics, like we have serious challenges, especially when we are supposed to go for programs and stuff, and then also fundraising. And then as our philosophy, we try as much as possible to put in every money that is donated towards the program. The events that we're organizing or whatever we are campaigning for, if it's an orphanage drive, if it's a pad drive, if it's a stationary drive. So most of the times the volunteers, we have about 30 to 40. So most of the time when we are working on a project, our transportation, our food, whatever, it's on us, the people. We do not try to go into the money donated for that specific needs. Yeah.
Okay, so let me come back. Let's shift away a bit from your foundation. Let's talk about the theme for this year's menstrual hygiene, World Menstrual Hygiene Day, which says a period-friendly world. What's your understanding of that, and how do you intend to contribute into making the world, you know, a period-friendly environment for young adolescents?
So a period-friendly world to me simply means that normalizing the whole concept of period. Menstruation has been around for a whole, like since Eve, because I'm sure Eve was menstruating. It has, but then, you know, the conversation is still, it's not talked about because we do not encourage people to talk about it. So like we have to put in measures to ensure that it's seen as just another aspect of life that every woman has to go through, and then there are resources put in place to sustain us or encourage us or ease our way as we experience menstruation.
I see. Now, away from that, this was very important because my producer kept prompting me that we cannot celebrate the day without understanding the theme, and I should take your view on that. That was why I asked you. Now, back to the BTF.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So back to your foundation. So this year, what are you donating to these people?
So this year we're going to Yamransa,
the central region.
Yeah, Yamransa. Okay. We're going to be donating sanitary pads, panties, tissue, and then exercise books to the children. So we're working with 500 girls. So we'll be having our events at the Yamransa Catholic Church.
Okay.
And then we'll be meeting about 3 schools. Then after that we will do like 3 individual visitations. So we're going from school to school, 3 other schools to also donate and then teach them about menstrual health education and then personal hygiene as well.
So how do you locate these schools?
Most of the times we have the teachers reaching out to us. So it's like from last year we went to Oti region. After Oti region we had Imam Pehnya because they reached out to us, and then this year, so like people know that this is something we do every year. So at the start of the year, they start prompting you areas that need help and stuff like that. So sometimes we don't scout the place. We have like they themselves coming to our doorstep.
So what are some of the feedbacks you receive from these young girls, you know, after donating to them? I don't know if you interact with them, but what are some of the feedbacks you get?
So most of the times, the common one we get is that we actually relieve them of their financial burden when it comes to buying sanitary pads, because you know, especially in the rural areas, the money is not there. Like even look at our urban setting, money is not easy to come by. So assuming a pack of pads is like 20 cedis, and she needs to like, people literally save because they want to have pads. They save part of their pocket money. So it's like every day they give them 5 cedis. They know they have to put this amount down to be able to afford pads. So I think the feedback we mostly get is that, oh, thank you so much for giving me a pad for this month or next month. And then it's actually very humbling, because even me personally, right now, if you donate pads to me right now, I would take one, because buying pad is like, you know, that like the waste, like it's not really, like you buy and then you throw it away. And then, so like if you dash me pad today right now, I'll take.
And knowing that you cannot carry your cross alone, what kind of partnerships have you been most fortunate to have? Like, have you had any partnership with other NGOs or government institutions?
Yes, we've partnered with YAGA, which is Young Africa Cares. This year we're partnering with Didi Foods, and then we have Leo Club, which is Rotary. So these people come on board to make, some of them they bring in money. Didi is supporting us with food this year. So these are all things that makes it very easy, like makes our work easy, because at the end of the day they are taking away some of the cost. Yeah.
Okay, so we have this comment just coming in. Please, I'm a student at Presbyterian Senior High School, Begro, and I want you to help our school with some parts, please, because sometimes my dorm mates find it hard to get a pad, and through this they use tissues during menstruation, which is a bad practice. So this is also, this is from a student at the Presbyterian Senior High School. So I think you should jot it down so that you visit them next time. Okay, so Brittany, if someone is watching you this morning and the person wants to support your foundation, how can they support you, or when can they support you, and with what can they support you with?
So you would find our bank details and Momo details on our social media pages, which is the Brittany Tachi Foundation. Besides that, we accept pad donations, like the pads itself, sanitizers, tissues, or anything that we can use in our project. If it's exercise groups, sometimes we do give out stationery, because sometimes some of the girls are not menstruating. So sometimes we give them a pad to like keep in case, like for when it comes. But then we also do give out stationery, because it goes along with education, as we've mentioned earlier, that most of them don't come to school when they are menstruating. So most of them, they are performing bad in class, not because they are bad students, but because of these circumstances that maybe makes them miss school and things. So we support like educational parts, the monetary aspects, and then the items aspects of, so any way through which you can help. And sometimes, so it may not be like given something, someone may have knowledge to share with you, like if you come and tell us maybe other places that we can look at, that is like vital information that we need to like work. So we're happy to have conversations with everyone or anyone who is interested in menstrual hygiene or education.
How do they contact you?
I can give out my phone number. So my contact is 055-231-2509. Or you can also send us an email at the BrittanyTachiFoundation@gmail.com.
Okay.
Either way, you can reach us.
You're not on social media?
We're on social media as the Brittany Tachi Foundation, almost everywhere.
Okay, so it will be appropriate or inappropriate to end the show without talking about our supposed guest who was supposed to join us, but it's unfortunate we do not have enough time. So let me briefly read something about her foundation, and then we'll play a video of that, and then we'll be out of here. So the Leome is a youth-driven non-profit organization committed to empowering communities through education, advocacy, and supports the 5 key areas: self-purpose, hygiene, STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and environmental awareness. Now, it exists to inspire and uplift underrepresented groups, especially young girls, by creating safe spaces for learning, sharing, and development. We aim to build a society where personal hygiene is prioritized, access to STEM education is equitable, and young people are empowered to become leaders and change makers in their communities. So the upcoming event, which is happening tomorrow, says that you are going to be giving up to 500 girls pads, and that the location is at Down West Central. This is as part of the celebration of the World Menstrual Hygiene Day, which is tomorrow, 28th May 2025. And so they are also going to be donating pads and other sanitary products to about 500 girls in the Ada district. Now let's have a look at her video. We'll be back.
Let's be all tiptoe. Oh yeah. EFYA. When you take
their workplace, and we want to encourage HR in such situation. I mean, to encourage females and support them during their menstrual times. I don't know if they can give us some form of leave, especially when a female is suffering from menstrual cramps. Maybe she could ask for permission. And also, there is this survey we've made. If you go to some restrooms in Ghana, you don't see sanitary pads like over there in case of any emergency. Well, they may have their reasons, but we advise that in every institution or organization, like we were taught, there should be this form of code that maybe HRs or various people in departments can dedicate one person to be keeping sanitary pads for the various women in the organization. In case of any emergencies, they can attend to or they can go to for sanitary pads. So we are doing this to encourage safety and more a form of confidence in women, to build confidence in women during their menstrual times at work. This is also a project we are embarking on. The first project we did was to support children in tech. This is our second project and we have more coming.
And that was Sonia Barikisu Elmer, founder of the Lelmer Foundation, giving us her speech over there. Clock TV will be covering that event happening at the Adan, where about 500 girls will be given pads and other sanitary products. Now, Brittany, your final words, your last words.
I'd like to encourage people, everyone, to encourage the support for menstrual hygiene. And then everyone should make sure that they allow room for people to comfortably talk about their periods as well, and also stand for a period-friendly world.
Thank you very much. Brittany Tachi is the founder of Brittany Tachi Foundation, and she was my guest for the lifestyle segments. The conversation surrounding menstrual hygiene should not end, because tomorrow is the World Menstrual Hygiene Day. Today we discussed embracing Menstrual Hygiene Day 2025. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I am Miriam Abna Adede. Up next is the birthday segment.
I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday.
Right, so let's move straight into the first birthday celebrant. A happy birthday to Vanessa, wishing you a day filled with love, laughter, and all your favorite things. This is from Jewel. Much love. Cheers to you and another year of being fabulous, funny, and totally irreplaceable. Happy birthday, my friend. This is from Frimpong. This is to Rebecca Boating. A happy birthday to Selena, wishing you a day filled with laughter, love, and all your favorite things. Keep shining bright and chasing your dreams. You are destined for greatness. Love you always. Your daughter Rhoda and grandson Ragnar extend this blissful wish on the occasion of birth as your path is serenaded with vibrant hugs of joy, each step adorned with blessings beyond measures, as well as God elevating you in all your endeavors. We love you dearly. This is to Cecilia Sari in the United States of America. This is also to Dr. Emmanuel Esian. May heavens open great doors unto you. May your name become a household name. May your new age connect you to a new level of influence in wealth, ministry, and every aspect of life. This is from your beloved Linda. To the most hardworking assistant, wishing you a great birthday. May the good Lord guide and protect you. Happy birthday, Miss Judith Ej. I love you, from Miss Portia Nelson. We also have this to, so dear little sister, as you celebrate a new milestone, all I wish for you is good health and prosperity and long life. Happy birthday, Dorothy Nelson. Enjoy the new year. This is from Portia Nelson and Eliora Opoku. A happy birthday, my cousin friend. May this year be a door opener for great things in your life, and may all your secret prayers be answered. This is to Mary Nakushi Lamte from Bevlin. A happy birthday to Benjamin. Hope today brings you laughter, peace of mind, and a little extra joy. You deserve it. This is from Tori. A happy birthday, Nanama Presla. Wishing you joy, love, and countless blessings today and always. This is from Dominic Amponsa. A happy birthday to Fifi. Wishing you a day filled with joy, good vibes, and the same kindness you always share with others. Stay amazing. This is also from Tori. Okay. So a happy birthday to Rebecca. Again, cheers to you and another year of being fabulous, funny, and totally irreplaceable. Happy birthday, friend. This is from our very own friend, Paul Cablesman. Thank you so much for bringing in your birthday messages. We'll be doing this thing again on Thursday here on Clock TV. I am Miriam Abna Adede. Up next is the business segment.
Test what cloud application to something like this.
That's crazy. That was quick. He's gonna be able to draw level. Yeah. Wow.
Hi music lovers, we are the Protagon.
To get ready for an unforgettable music experience on our upcoming show, Happy Hour with the Clocksack Band.
We are bringing you a night filled with electrifying tunes, good vibes, and a whole lot of fun.
Whether it's singing along, dancing, or just soaking in the atmosphere, we have something for everyone. Expect surprise performances, exclusive behind-the-scenes stories, and a chance to connect with us like never before.
Don't miss out. So tell a friend to tell a friend.
And join us for Happy Hour.
Get ready to rock with us.
Happy Hour with the Clocksack Band.
Sing. I don't wanna wait. This is how we do. M-I-M-I, Devilish, aka, you know the name?
Ghana music has really been has really been doing great stuff.
To dive into the heart of entertainment.
Let's Talk Stuff, where we explore the latest trends in the entertainment industry. From viral movies to hottest celebrity stars, we've got you covered. Have questions? We want to hear from you. Your voice matters. Let's vibe together. I got a secret.
In a world where neutrality in the civil service is paramount, Ghana finds itself at a crossroad.
CLOSAG says that a certain action should be taken, but government has to act on the basis of law. So we inquired as to what the premise for that demand is.
They say if you wish to broadcast or otherwise manifest your political allegiance or run political office, step away from the services. This is Supreme Court talking. It's not CLOSAG speaking or Isaac Wampado speaking. This is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court judgment on the landmark case of CLOSAG versus the Attorney General has set the stage for a profound transformation. Introducing Resetting the Civil Service. Tune in to be part of this change, because a better civil service means a better Ghana.
I find it refreshing always when I remind myself of the profound statement by the eminent civil servant, the Anankwa of blessed memory, to the effect that it is the perfection of the civil servant that will move this country forward, and not the politician.
For Walatu Walasa.
To add all those test reports, like application to something like this. Yes.
Oh, that's quick. That's crazy. That was quick. He's going to be able to draw level. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
This is how we do. M-I-M-I, Devilish.
To dive into the heart of entertainment. Let's Dot That, where we explore the latest trends in the entertainment industry. From viral moments to hottest celebrity stars, we've got you covered. Have questions?
Good morning. Welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. This is the business update segment, and I am your host, Clement Yaban Kwe. Today, we're going to have a very interactive section. The city appreciation, Ghanaians are happy. But the question is it really reflecting in the ordinary Ghanaians' pocket? How is GPRTU equally performing their role to ensure that this really is the burden on the ordinary Ghanaian? And also, in terms of food and services, is it really affecting its price index? We'll equally be speaking with a finance expert who will be giving us his insight to all this discussion. Is this city appreciation sustainable? That is the question people keep on asking. As of this morning, United States city is appreciating 28% to United States dollar, going to that of the euros and pound sterling around 22%, 21% respectively. And as we speak early this morning, Ghana cities is trading to that of the United States dollar at 10.39 Ghana cedis. That's 10 Ghana cedis, 39 pesos. We'll be having more into this discussion, and doing this with me, I have the General Secretary of Food and Beverages Association of Ghana in the person of Mr. Samuel Agre. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
I also have in the studio the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, Alhaji Abbas Moro. Please, good morning. I also have in the studios Mr. Martin Ohin Enim, as you always know, a finance expert and a chartered accountant as well. Good morning, Mr. Martin.
Good morning.
And you are welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
People are asking the question, is it sustainable?
Yes, it depends on the measures that the finance minister and the central bank governor will put in place. The continual rally of the cedi tells you actually it's a blend of many factors. Okay, you see that in current international trade, the dollar has not been the currency that has dominated the trade because of the tariff issues in the international front where US is imposing tariffs. So when that happens, countries begin to look at how they will domesticize their economy and depend on their self-productions that they do. So that reduces the level of demand for the dollar, which is a very huge currency in international trade. So when that happens, then the aggregate demand for the dollar goes down, then you expect that will impact the price at which the dollar is exchanged for other international currency. And Ghana, having enjoyed that gains, domestically have anchors that strengthen these gains. That's why you see the cedi, unlike other currencies across the country, doing very, very well in that regard. You see this time around a strong coordinated effort between the governor and the finance ministry. You see their fiscal measure in terms of the fiscal side. They are not too much spending to overheat the economy. So when that happens, liquidity is not too much in the economy. That will lead for more import, and that can trigger the price of the dollar to go up. You also see that the central the central bank, what they are doing is they are not reducing the policy rate, even though this inflation trends are going down, they still are keeping the monetary policy rate at 28%. It means that they want to still mobilize excess liquidity from the market and do not want to exert demand pressures on the currency. So by keeping the monetary policy rate still at 28%, the expectation was that since we are on a disinflation trend, you should then reduce the policy rate and to ease and to support growth. But you could see that they are very careful. Even though we are achieving gains, they want to make sure these gains are sustainable. Another good thing is that you could see that our inflows from export earnings are now becoming very more, unlike when you just opposed that against last year. We got a lot of earnings from our cocoa beans. We got a lot of earnings from our gold export. So those forests coming in is helping to sustain the rally of the city. You could also see that the government have continued with the gold for reserve policy, which is increasing our reserves at the central bank. Down about it's a little over four times import cover.
Exactly.
So it tells you that the external factors are playing key role, but there are domestic efforts from the monetary and the fiscal side that is coming together to support this gain. That's why Ghana performance looks like an outlier when you just oppose that against many other countries and their currency across board. So I see the expectation is that this rally will continue because in June, last month or so, we got an SLA from the IMF, which we have been approved for about $360 million, which is expected to be disbursed in June. We are in the next month. So that will come and beef up and increase our reserves and can help sustain the rally into the third quarter as we go up.
Thank you so much for the insights. I think Alhaji Abbas has a lot of things to say, and Mr. Samuel Agri also have a lot of things to say. Alhaji, let me just get back to you in this conversation. Cedi has appreciated by 28% to the dollar, starting from January to May. And in terms of fuel, we know fuel prices also in the world market has fallen. And it's all as a result of this Cedi. And looking at the trend, fuel and per liter has also been falling significantly. And current, when you compare the data from January to that of May, per liter to petrol using the GOL price, you are going to see that it has fallen by 2 Ghana cedis, 81 pesos. And to that of diesel is 2 Ghana cedis, 13 pesos. Was that the reason why GPRTU decided to call price adjustments?
Yes. We were following carefully, and if you look at the little reductions, you add it up, we've gotten to about 18%. And we use that, we have to reset Ghana. Everybody is trying to display his offer, make sure he has very good standing in the role he plays in the current economy. Hence, we dwell on that, the 18% decrease and slash our lorry fare. In rare sense, we took some risk involved. What are the risks? Spare parts are some of the components we use. They haven't reduced anything, but they promise they want to reassemble themselves and look at what they could do to reduce. We took that risk, factor it into it. Lubricants went up because of the dollar issue. When the dollar was rising up, lubricant prices also went up. As we speak now, there hasn't been any reduction. We took that risk in addition and factor it into it. In essence, we were to use about 6% reduction because each time we are looking for an increment, we met a tradition at the transport ministry, whatever percentage we have to use 1/3 to come up with whatever demands we want. And the decrease is the same. We have to use 1/3 of whatever percentage, but which should have been 6%. But we factor this risk in it and make sure that whatever happens in the near future after the announcement of our reduction we will never have to reduce it again, the lorry fares.
Okay.
Imagine tomorrow or next week, spare parts comes out and says, yes, we have slashed our prices by this percentage. We are no longer going to adjust the lorry fares again.
The lorry fare will not be adjusted.
Yes, because we have factored that into it. That was some of the risk we included. So these are some of the issues we will deal with before finally coming up with the 15%.
Okay, I have this question.
Religiously reduction, yeah.
Okay, so yesterday, the CEO for the Association for Oil Marketing Companies was speaking one of the media houses, and he made a statement that per forecast, they are looking at the next price window, petrol is likely to sell at 12 Ghana cedis per litre. If that should happen, would there be price adjustments?
Not at all. These are the risks we took. Well, we shouldn't have come as low as 15%.
Okay.
But we consider all these things and factor them into it. We announce it as well so that nobody should expect another reduction after that. That was why when some of our people are saying, spare parts have not been reduced, why? I quite remember somewhere in 2022, it was only the same fuel which went up, and we dwell on that, came up with upward adjustment in lorry fares. We started working with that adjustment not too long, then the prices of fuel started declining. It declines, if my memory will set me right, somewhere in December, we came up with about 15.3% reduction. So we could use one component to change our fare, or more than two components, or all the components we are using. We have the fuel, the spare parts, lubricants. We term a group as documentation, like insurance, tax, DVLA, permits. All these are documentations. When they goes up, it also affects our activities.
Sure.
So this is how it is.
Okay, Mr. Samolagri, CD is performing well. GPRTU has reduced.
Perform wonders.
Wonders. CD, okay. So GPRTU, they are doing price adjustment by 15%. We want to know, in terms of food, what is really happening on ground?
Well, thank you very much. If you look at the scenarios we have now, everyone will say, why is it that the CD is performing so well? And therefore, the cost of food is also not going down. But in my sector, we have three folds. The local staples that is moved from the farm to the market, and then also the import, and then the retail market, as you look at it. So one will say, if I'm importing and I'm selling my goods at the cost of 16 cedis, how can I reduce the price if the city has really gained its strength? So you ask yourself, how am I going to reduce that? And then if you look at the costing on the import side, sometimes what we have a hidden cost in there. That cost helps you to at least bridge that shock that if you are not careful, when the city depreciates further, you then have to go and borrow money to come and fix it before you can do your next import. So they put in that factor so that they don't go aback, or they are not taken aback when it comes to the city losing further value. So that is where most of the importers within my sector quickly considered. So when you look at the city becoming stable, then within, I think, 1st of May, it started also coming down. And then we realized that, okay, if it's stable and the city is gaining its value, then that component that you put in to bridge up the shock must be taken off. So most people take off the 7% value that they place in there. So now what we have to deal with is the cost of the city now. So the cost of the city, the import, the retail or the distributor, and then the retail, and then the manufacturing. These are some of the things that we are looking at. So when you come to the distribution sector, the person who wants to buy the goods at 16 cities from the importer will definitely have no opportunity in reducing immediately.
Okay.
Okay, and then the retailer who also bought from the distributor will find it very difficult reducing. But the 7% that has been taken off, this is where the distributor and the importer will then have to take advantage and pass on the 7% or whatever percentage that has been reduced further onto the distributor. And the distributor, when the retail completes its back stock that they have and go in for a new product, that is where the price effects, the changes will happen. So then,
so if I'm getting you, until your stock, the old stock are done, you can't do anything about price adjustments.
So,
but here is the case that businessmen have old stock. Assuming they have old stock today, and they get to know that dollar has gained it or cedi is depreciating, they quickly adjust price. So what happens then?
So the import, you see, the one who is clearing the goods on that day, you see, where if today the one who is clearing the goods at 13 cities at the port will then have to come back and then redo the costing again. So the value of the cedi is what is the determining factor of how much the product should be sold. So as they are doing that, the benefit of that goes to the distributor. So you see that as the cedi has dropped, that I'm clearing my goods today at that value, and the one who cleared the goods at 16 cedis, you see the disparity in there. But what we do is that some do reconsider by adjusting the prices further, so that the competition who is clearing at 13 cedis and the 16 cedis will then have to look at how much they can waive off to make sure that they stay in competition. So they do that, and the price also comes down. So the distributor then gets the price at a different cost today.
Okay.
Okay. Now, as he is selling, the one who will come and buy from him also then have to sell at the price that they bought it.
Okay.
So we are looking at further reducing the price as and when the cedi also becomes very stable.
So when should we expect this?
Well, that is why we said, you see, if it comes to market pricing, sometimes for the last person to get that benefits, it depends on how possible we are able to appreciate the value. And then also depleting the stocks that we have. So it's the final person who is doing the final retail. The price at which that person is getting is where the consumer also benefits from that price. So at the end of the day, it's the retailer and then the consumer who decides that, oh, I went to the market, this price has come down.
Okay.
So there's the benefit.
Okay.
But what we see is that prices will further reduce.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we said. In 60 days, whatever the competition may be, because if you take two people, the other person selling at a different price and you're selling also at a higher cost, you see that you would then have to see how you can mitigate that loss. That person who is selling at a lower cost will not sell and go for a new product, whilst I'm still holding on to my stock.
Okay.
So then the competition itself dictates the pace as to how much the price will stabilize.
Okay.
So that's why we said in the 60 days, we should allow us, not that 60 days they will reduce prices, but we should allow ourselves within that 2 months window, the 60 days,
So let's
for us to see
started from the month of first
stabilizing.
May. So you are giving up to ending of June.
Yeah, I said even by June ending, we should see drastic reduction in pricing. And then if we go further to somewhere in July, that is where you will see how the prices have been stabilized. But all the same, what we look at is how the city can be stabilized for a very long time to come.
Okay.
That is how it gives us the power to also do our projections in a way that you don't have to lose so much.
Okay.
But if the city stabilizes, of course, the projections will be right, and then we'll see how prices will
Okay, I'll get back to Mr. Martin. But Alhaji, are you happy with this? from that point of GPRTU?
I quite agreed
Okay.
with him because we have experienced some like cooking oil and rice, etc. Prices have started. There used to be a particular rice that I used to buy. It was, I believe what the 5 kilogram was 50 Ghana or so. It went to 100 Ghana. It went to 80, then to 100. Now the prices are now reducing. So I believe from his projection we will get there.
Okay. Mr. Martin, based on this, should Ghanaians still exercise patience? Because people are saying it's not reflecting their pocket.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure we'll get there. You don't expect a few months of appreciation the performance of the city, then sellers begin to respond. They must have confidence that this gain is sustainable because that influences their price. Do you get a point? So if they are not too much confident that this gain is sustainable into the short to medium term, you don't expect them to begin to respond to those economic factors. Do you get the point? Because some, as you rightly mentioned, some of them have bought their stock at old forest rates. Okay. And now they have priced the item at that rate already. You have gone into the market with those costs. How do they respond just because the city has started performing well? It will take some time. There's this in economics which we call price downward sticky. Yeah. What it means is that the rate at which it can come down is slower than when it's supposed to go up. I get the point, because the fundamentals that should allow prices to come down must be really, really very certain and very clear in the minds of the sellers, and then they can make those decisions. So we expect that GPRT could have even done well because except for fuel, other components that feed into their businesses, prices have not gone down. So, when you go to Abusokan, they have not reduced their spare parts. Lubricant prices are still high. What's the name? DVLA and the like still increases their fees for the services they provide for them. I get the point. So they even have done well in terms of the sacrifices they want to bring to bear to give some respite to the ordinary Ghanaian. But I think the food and beverage, they will also respond in the short term. They only want to be sure that this is not a 9-day wonder kind of thing that is happening in the economy. It's the one that is supported by the fundamentals of the economy. It's not just a 9-day wonder. The next day you see, and particularly we know how the Ghanaian economy is. Yeah. You see some few months of good performance. Subsequently, the city continues to depreciate for a long term. The trend is there. You see the city depreciating more than appreciating. So if you have that history in mind and you see a few month performance, you will have to be very careful and very certain that this performance will be stable into the medium long term. Then that can influence prices and other economic indicators in the economy. So these are the expectations, so I'm not worried at all. Okay. I know that they are business people. They are in there with the objective to make profit. You understand? So when the fundamentals are okay and they're very certain about what the issues are, I'm sure they will respond. As he also mentioned that because competitive forces will drive the prices. Yeah. Because if the gains are there, the appreciation of the city is sustainable, then people will begin to buy items at reduced price or cost. Isn't also so they begin to go to the market to be selling the items at those prices, and then you that are there want to maximize your gain because of the advantage you have in terms of the city performance. If you continue to do that, people will continue to sell, and you will be out of the market. Okay. So competition forces will come in following the sustained city performance that we will have, and that will drive prices downward.
Okay. Yesterday we visited some couple of stations. We went to New Plan, we went to Kaneshi. I knew you would come to that. Yeah, so we visited couples of them, and passengers were talking, drivers were speaking. We want to play that video so that Alhaji and our guests would have a talk on this. Some were complaining, others were happy. So we want to just have that on the screen so that viewers would just also follow others. So producer, let's get that video.
Go swim. First, no, 130. But if we no price in society, they say at least about 120. The current price and premier journey 120 cities.
Yeah, no quality. Yeah, so.
It's not old price na yet saying and a new price is so.
Na before if you concession, you 1.5, but as at now you 1.4, which is you reduce the price, no. Oh, she said if you have passengers, no more. But I draft when I start go so it be but all the same no. On be jautum.
There be amount titisu. Me go be so almost amount titisu. Almost long journey for no. Almost titisu, but it's cut across board. I say almost titisu across board 15%. But how do you anima? Almost amount titisu there and yeah, but in almost titisu.
It's not fair, Nankasa is saying.
Me they are from 80 cities, but maybe almost titisu almost 70. But me do almost titisu.
I'm from Sprinters because Sprinters it was 11 cities, but today it's 10 cities. When I was coming to it's 10 cities from Koko to Accra or from Accra to Koko. The Jubian Express is 80 cities, but today it's 70 cities. So I think it's working. Yeah, it's working. Yes, please.
Are you happy about this?
Yes, I'm happy because the 1 city and the 10 cities, I can use it to buy something, food or something, water. So it's working.
As someone say, some so yeah, there, but lubricants and a tie. I know someone to my because that tie no. We say down with on 9.5. Because touch road or say 11 million. And to no man amount so, but fair and the more year and say and so into so. And to no man so wanted to say they are balancing. Master man.
Castle Drana Park, Castle for 50 pesos. Edrana Park, Castle in May, you 10 city. Edrana Park, you check Castle 11 city. Obaka chess Accra straight, Circuit straight. On Ubesu or Dokwa 11 city. Usu Abanyard 11 city. Ubaka Nation or Joe 11 city. Castle Monte so you no moje. And that they're very lucky here back out there by or Sunday. Carnation is circle. Another fire until 8-5. Castle Monte so until Yasram Moya will be my.
What?
Okay, Alaji, this is what we saw.
Yes.
We got couples of reaction.
Yeah.
I think the last person was saying the fact, say, in the morning, they might charge 80 to 50 pesos. In the evening, they will charge 10 cities, 11 cities. What is GPRT going to do about this very issue?
Yes, we are aware of that.
Okay.
The changes of prices. And we are aware of the short also. Say from Accra, they will say Carnation, Malam.
Yeah.
And short, we are aware of that. When we came up with a strategic plan that we thought will help all of us to move Ghana forward, the first thing was to make sure the law protecting drivers is being applied. That was why we said all those hawking in the middle of and the pedestrian walkway should be taken off from those places. Yes, it's in our LI 2180. If you look at Regulation 117, it is there that if you hawk in the middle of the street, and arrested, sent to court, you could be fined or 50 penalty units. One penalty unit is 120.
Okay.
Or you could be sentenced to 3 months imprisonment or to both. So when we came up with this, we started. In fact, the AMA mayor has really lived up to our expectation. Directly he took it up. I heard similar thing was also done in Marseille to make sure they clear the people. And that is the only way professional drivers, even not only the professional, everybody who hit the road could be protected. And we said after that, we are aware of those who change the prices. Like the lady said, we'll come to that. Then from there, go to the short. The short, they need a lot of education. So I will talk to all of them. The short are being patronized by most drivers who doesn't belong to any society, any union, any association. And these are the very people whom are kicking against the decrease of the fare today. You see, if you look at our LI 2180, you go to regulation 121, it's also there that yes, you can buy a vehicle with your money, but you have to belong to union, association, or even make sure you register your own transport company. And the law could support you, back you, know where to identify you and allow you to work. Here we are, these floating drivers does not belong to any union, any society, any association. They haven't registered any transport company. And these are the very people who today are trying to float some of this. So what the lady says is right.
That's right.
Let's finish with this lorry fare issue. If we are able to make sure at least 98% are performing what we all agree. Because anytime we bargain at the transport ministry, becomes law on the land for all of us, either upward adjustment or the decrease that we just come up with. So we keep saying each time they call, if somebody refuses to do or comply with the reduction, what should we do? We keep telling them nobody should beat the driver and the maid. There are only 2 people. And you pick about 10 people, 20 people, 30, 40, etc. If you become a recalcitrant behind your wheels and they decide to pounce on you, everybody know the results. So we keep telling them nobody should. If you touch a driver or his mate, you also fall foul to the law of the land. So just hand him over to the police.
Okay.
We are not praying that this should happen, but if 1, 2 people are taken to court and they know that we have laws on the land, I believe nobody will be saying, they will stop saying that.
Okay. So I think I have 2 follow-up questions before I bring in the other guest. One is, someone is asking, when are we going to see this put in place? For example, the floating drivers, when are you going to be on them? For them to also align with what DPRTU is saying. And I think the next one is all about, when you look at this interview, for example, you mentioned of Koko to Accra. He said it was 80, now it's 70. Does it mean that the 15% adjustment is just an in-between? Is it a maximum, or it should 15% across board?
See, such a person has complied with the law. But at times this morning, someone called me. Then I was in the house that he's calling from Kintampo. That his people have reduced not up to the 15%, but they were complaining of the rules. And I said, yes, we have similar issues. What we do is we advise them they should look for the opinion leaders on the road, where they start and where they end. Talk to them that, yes, this is the situation in which we are. So we want to retain some few pesos in addition so that we continue plying on that route. Should anything happens, we just have enough money to buy the spare parts and replace it. And that is workable. So these are some of the situations. There are some places
that they should apply the 50%.
It's fixed that they should apply the 15%. But if they have problem, and in case the road is so bad that they withdraw all the vehicles on the road, those people who use that route are going to go through hell. And it will be better for them to negotiate with them that due to the bad nature of this road, we want to retain some few pesos on it so that we will be in a very good situation to service you on that route. And that is not a crime. So these are some of the situations that we face. When we face, we advise them to do this in a humble way. And it works.
It works. Mr. Martin, what is the ripple effect on the reduction of transport fares to the ordinary Ghanaian? What do we stand to gain? Someone will say, when I pick a car, just 1 city difference. What do we stand to gain?
Before he answers.
Okay.
The lady, you heard the lady says she has 1 city here and she had 10 cedis. 11 cedis. She could buy something. And you are now asking him again. Okay, you go ahead.
Yes, of course. You know, income levels in Ghana are very small, very low. So any marginal, small respite that we give to the people, it's at least can buy something for the day. Particularly when we look at the effect for a month, if the person is saving 10 cedis per day and he has to pay each travel in and out, you can imagine there's at least 300 Ghana savings per month. You can imagine what that can do for the person and his household. So it's a good thing. The expectation is that the farm gates to one key thing that impact our foods in the markets is the transportation first. So in periods that we have bumper harvest and then transportation prices are also coming down. We only gain from the savings we make in the reduction in our transport fares. We also gain from what reduction in our food prices, so that we can consume more and have a good standard of living as a people. So I believe that this year is I think things are working well. We thank God for everything. Government reduced some COVID levies and the like. CD is coming, is doing well. Expectation is that GPRT has responded in terms of prices of items. Food prices also respond in a few months to come. Then you could see some good improvement in the lives of the Ghanaian. The next thing we need to do is, I'm happy this year, what I expect the government to do is just stabilize things now. This year, I don't think the objective is to grow the economy too much. You understand? First, bring everything down, reduce taxes on the Ghanaian. Cities should perform well. Prices of items should come down. So it's engender confidence in the economy. The next year, the government can release more funds to more productive areas to create jobs, expand the economy, support the private sector. Right? If we achieve that, that will work very well in the industry.
Okay. On that one, before Mr. Agri comes in, we equally spoke with some traders yesterday and some wholesalers. So we want to get what they also said. Yes, DPRTU have done their part. Let's get to know what is really happening in terms of food prices. Producer, let's get that also on the screen.
But the same I buy and name and Omuna, when you can for Natiso. Into who to make us say, when young Quatiso, own Teso. Into Yamaya Tiso.
Me who Cindy Rice, Royal Aroma, Entina Royal Aroma, first in an say 120. And I say, what did you say?
100 CD.
Now, wait, so
say, they 85. 580.
Now, Titus, Geisha, no, not first in the back, we are saying.
Well, first, to say 14 and I say 12 CD. To say, Mubag say, nay, to say 4.5. We take kilo, near a ton and 9 something. So say about 81. So I say 81. And at the year 4.5, and they say about 7.5. And they say, near many in our buffer.
Also, ya tete a price so ye pa. First no na a more a ton 828. And they say they about 630. Correct. This August ya tete no maso and no crop at swampa.
And how are the customers responding to the price reduction?
Responding here very bad because see I'm finding say customer no na say first ultimate more $10 or you assured says you see at the price so into bones instead of so better $10 no ba pen wato $2 go you willing say acha within a day or 2 days or 3 days to come no price and so a reduce into ama selling idea ama pa say the one na to ade fa na say na see to ade fa a reduce I can't be importation echo down omo say bia obi wo de no ma report say the ba ni nyina no omo nyina atwentwen so ko nim say okokọ say okokle ne o ma na ebia ni duty obetua no calculated in dollars no ebe kosoro na say yete so de akakam say me twен kakra nti ama atwentwen ne o mebia so because for instance oil vegetable oil at just last week near ton 685 but you see am no kasi e bona ba 570 But yes, yeah, the dollar reduction no affecting your mapi.
The customers on the offshore or money ajana say.
Customers for near Jeba, yen so ye rare ho in the sense of the one now ye toya de finance and I see a tunnel. Customers for no fee, no my friend, send them on a matter swing. I may train remember. Me train my yat so cry, some of my market abetadi. A bandit also so yantardia na you scrap into a boy ska.
Not yet, because the companies are also complaining of the goods being. They can't also do anything about it. If they can reduce it, meaning we can also reduce it. So not yet, anyway. Yeah, that's.
So that's what some traders and consumers actually told Clock TV when we visited them yesterday. We are going to speak to this very item, but we want to go for a short commercial break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about this issue. And we have lots more for you, so don't go anywhere. Stay right here with us.
This is how we do M-I-M.
You ready to dive into the heart of entertainment? Let's start where we explore the latest trends in the entertainment industry. From viral moments to hottest celebrity stars, we've got you covered. Have questions? We want to hear from you. Your voice matters. Let's vibe together.
I got a secret, do you wanna hear it? You're always on my mind.
In a world where neutrality in the civil service is paramount, Ghana finds itself at a crossroad.
CLOSAG says that a certain action should be taken, but government has to act on the basis of law. So we inquired as to what the premise for that demand is.
They say if you wish to broadcast or otherwise manifest your political allegiance or run political office, step away from the services. This is Supreme Court talking. It's not CLOSAG speaking or Isaac Bampado speaking. This is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court judgment on the landmark case of CLOSAG versus the Attorney General has set the stage for a profound transformation. Introducing Resetting the Civil Service. Tune in to be part of this change, because a better civil service means a better Ghana.
I find it refreshing always when I remind myself of the profound statement by the eminent civil servant, the Tan Anankwa of blessed memory, to the effect that it is the perfection of the civil servant that will move this country forward, and not the politician.
Thank you for staying with us, and we are still continuing the conversation. That is CD appreciation. Is it really easing the cost of living? GPRT say yes, it is, because they have adjusted their price by 15%. Food and beverages said yes, it is, because items in markets are falling. We equally want to say that, is it really also going to increase the purchasing power of the ordinary Ghanaian? We have a few comments here. Let me just take this Michael Amoni. He said, are we as passengers supposed to calculate the 15% and pay or heed to what the bus conductors dictate to us? I think this is GPR to you, Alhaji Abbas. This from HM Joey. He said in November 2021, a dollar was around 14 cedis. It then came down to 9 cedis, but later went up to 12 cedis. I hope this appreciation is not a 9-day wonder thing, but will be a lower and stable for our economy. This also says, with food and beverages, please, do we have price control? I think we would come, okay.
No, in the sense that Ghana is a free market.
Okay.
Government really does not control prices. So there's nothing like price control, but we are left at the mercy of price competition.
Okay. So anybody can charge anything?
You can charge anything, but how reasonable the charge will be is where the problem is. So the import or the CD, as is being dictated now, as we see it, that is how the trend is going to be. So if you have a product that you want to sell to someone at a higher cost, even it depends on the consumer or the client, whether they want to fish for a lower price or they still want to maintain whatever offer that is given them. So if I'm buying something and I want to get a fair deal, then I have to walk through the market, see where the prices are lower, and who could offer me the best price, and I could buy it.
You could buy it.
Okay. It's good. Okay.
Okay. So we have this from from Madina, Alhaji Baba from Madina. He said, good morning to you, or especially my big brother Abbas from Achimota. When the agricultural revolution also takes place shortly, food prices will also reduce drastically. Let's pray for, he said, John Dramani Mahama and his appointees to be honest to Ghanaians. Once again, I salute brother Abbas. This is Yalai from Achimota.
I thank him very much.
So then let's get into conversation. We had people talk about the fact that yes, prices of food items have reduced, and business owners are rather complaining that they are rather losing. Is that the point?
See, it's vice versa, and we are double hit those during the business. But when you look at the time that the city started moving from 5.8 to where it was, where it was before it started gaining its strength. You see that those business people, a lot of them, those who are importing number of containers, if you're bringing in 10 containers in a year, you ended up bringing 2 containers. So that is how bad the city affected trade. Some of them they had nothing to import and to depend on friends bring, and then they would then buy from them and also sell. So that was the effect that the city itself affected us, and then also the high taxes. Okay. What is happening now will deepen the cost of products in the sense of reduction.
Okay.
We could go further down when government take one step. The import side. Because remember 2022, when we had the benchmark value raised to 100%. So everything that you bring in, if you bring in a container, that will cost you 10,000. You have to cover $6,000 to clear. If you bring in a car, that costs you 7,000. You have to pay around $6,000 before you can clear. So you look at the disparity, you see. And then we look at also the taxation system that we have. It's not something that is one-time payment or something that you know I'm paying so much. And then whatever it is, it has been structured in a way that everything that you buy, you've paid 3 times the cost of the tax on that same product.
Okay.
Okay. So we've asked the ministry to look at it by rationalizing all the tax system that we have, and then let us see what will be possible for the Ghanaian to pay. So seeing what is happening now, we expect that government will also do its bit by looking at the cost of import that is coming in, especially the benchmark value. As for some of the taxes that are there, it could be there, but then the benchmark, which is also against international trade, because what it means is that when you import a product that costs you $10, government buys from you and then resell it to you at $20. Then before you pay your duty, then when you finish paying the duty, you look at the cost of VAT, which is also cascading. So something that you need to pay a tax of 17%, you end up paying 21%. 21.3%. You understand? Yeah. So these are effects that government has to clean and look at it if it's possible, and they take off some of the benchmark value, even at 30%, on food, and then other sectors will also have to come down more than 30%. Then you can see how Ghanaians would then have to take a full advantage of the system. Then government can also do some balancing in structuring or resetting the economy the way they want to set it.
Okay.
Because if we are not careful, and we look at the cost of cedi that is coming down, if it goes down too much, it will not be good for us.
Why?
Yes, because now where we are, that is how the economy is structured, around the $60 economy.
People are praying dollars should go down at least to 5 cities.
For me, where I sit, if it gets to 9 cities, we should maintain it there. And then it should be between 9 cities and 10 cities. It goes up maximum 10 cities, it will come down to 9 cities, 9 city 20 pesos, 9 city 50 pesos. If we know this is how it's going to be, and it's structured in a way that for a long time we are going to see the stability of the currency, then you will see how people can also cost their products, how the cost of product in the markets and the imports and the manufacturing will maintain its balance. Then we'll see the system itself resetting itself.
But why not down to 5 cities or even 4 cities?
You see, if we do that, then what we have to do is to increase the export base of this economy.
Okay.
Our export is not that porous. It's not that powerful.
But I think currently cocoa export has increased significantly within this few months. Gold exports too has increased.
Yeah, the value of the cocoa is what we see, but not how much we have exported.
Okay.
You see, the cost of gold, cocoa has gone up. Gold has also gone up. But if in terms of export, cocoa now, we are not exporting when we got to almost 1 million or 1.2 metric tons of cocoa. Now we are not exporting even 700,000 metric tons of cocoa. But the value has gone up.
Yeah.
So if we're able to increase the value, and then we look at other sectors where the export will be increased, then of course when the city comes down, then we have more to export to get the money that we want.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will be unfair that the city will then come down to a point that government will also find it very difficult to raise money to pay salaries and other things. So it should get to a point where it will be stabilized, and then the system itself will reset itself the way the government wants it to be.
Mr. Martin, which sector benefits most from this city appreciation thing we are seeing? Is it the GPRTU?
Oh, I want to comment on.
Okay.
Yes, I think he's practicalizing the understanding of the economics and the finance. The honest truth is that a persistent appreciation of the cedi against the dollar is not good for the economy itself. What is good for every economy is stability.
Okay.
Because it helps in planning.
Okay.
You rarely heard the sellers and the producers saying that the customers are not coming to buy because the expectation is that will the price for that go down next week? So it distorts business. It doesn't make certainty to be in the market, and people cannot plan their buying decisions. What to do at any point in time. Some people having dollars now, they are confused. What to do? Will it go down further? Should I go and buy items now? When I buy now, the import duty will be high because I will be buying at a higher exchange rate. In some few weeks, will it continue to depreciate? No, let me wait until it comes down further. So it doesn't help the economy in itself because it doesn't help people to plan. The good thing is that we should see some appreciation in the city, which we have seen over the period, but it should come to a point where it should be stable.
It should be stable.
Which, at that price at which the stability will be, it will help the economy overall. But it will then be stable so that people can plan. Of course, export earnings goes down anytime your currency appreciates. And we that have not diversified our exports in a larger base, where predominantly our exports are in raw forms like cocoa and gold and the quantities are not there. Just that the international market prices have gone up, and you're making that. So when your currency appreciates, then you tend to have those shocks coming in. What was the question again? You asked.
Yeah, so I want to know in cedi appreciation, which sector benefits most?
It's the consumers.
It's the consumers,
and those who have liabilities to pay. So if you have what's the name? You took some
business
supplies.
Don't benefit.
The sellers don't benefit. They will take.
Some. Is it true?
It's true, because if the value of the cedi appreciates, what it means is that your salary, you don't have to look at it whether you are going to, the employer is going to ask you to also come to the table and negotiate a downward salary, which will not happen.
Which will not happen.
Yeah.
Take back to the
So it helps the ordinary consumer because the expectation is that prices will go down following the appreciation of the cedi. Any individual who has any bills to pay to a foreigner or who is an importer who has imported some product into the country and has to pay in some, maybe he took it in January and he has to pay in May. You can imagine the gains the person will make by using a smaller amount of cedi, exchange it and pay for the bill. I get the point. So those who owe debts to pay, consumers, are those who gain from this.
So is this a good news for government in the aspect of servicing their debts, external debts?
Of course, government is also a beneficiary in that regard because they need to convert quite a smaller amount of cedis to be able to pay for their debts, their foreign external debt holdings. That in previous times they would have used a lot of cedis to pay SIM. So, but right now, in terms of their debt obligation, the external component part, that will help. So, anybody who have, as I said, any economic agenda has a debt to pay, which the debt was procured in some few years or months ago. Now, the person will benefit because they will use a smaller quantity of cedi to be able to pay for that liability. So consumers, any bills that you pay in foreign exchange, you are the one that will benefit from this appreciation of the cedi. And those are the benefits. The ripple effect is that it will cascade across in terms of prices. Disposable income will now increase, and then you can consume more items than you have done.
You used to be.
Yeah.
Alhaji, you said disposable incomes is going to increase. In the aspect of drivers, does the disposable income increase?
Oh, we don't see that way. But all the same, since we buy foodstuffs at a decreased price, we buy items like new dresses, shoes, anything that comes with the dollar, which has been reduced, we all benefit from it. So we are more or less one of the consumers who benefit from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to add to Alaji's own, this country is import driven.
Yeah.
So it means that our purchases are more outside. Do you understand? The way our money goes is more towards the external countries. So if the currency is appreciating, the expectation is that in some few months you see a cascading effect. Where our money goes more is by converting them into dollars and buying the items to consume in the country. That's where our expenditure goes the more.
Okay.
Are you getting the point?
Yeah.
So if that is that area, you are seeing an appreciation in the cedi, then expectation is that some few months, this country we expect that things will really do.
We expect that things will really do. Alhaji, what do you expect from on the point of GPRT from government? What do you expect furthermore in the aspect of stabilizing the economy in future?
Well, I will go for fuel first.
Okay.
That since it has started declining and the way things are going, we believe it will decline further. These are our expectations, which will have to affect lubricants as well. So it is our expectation. In fact, we will be disappointed if we don't see it the way we are thinking now.
So if this is what you're thinking, what is the next of DPRTU? Will you come back?
We have the authority to adjust things when things are hard in terms of not seeing the flexibility in where we put our money to run our transport. Yes, we have that authority to make sure, as long as we can justify that this hasn't been reduced, this having experienced that due to this and that, we are changing our rates. That authority lies within our hands and justification. So this is what I was saying.
There was this comment. This person says that the price reduction is not taking effect from where he is, and you wonder why. Have you received such complaints?
Well, it should be specific. I've told you earlier that yes, we have received reports from few recalcitrant drivers, and we are making sure it cut across speedy. Yesterday, the report that we had mostly was from the Ashanti region, that most of them, it's just unfortunate I'm mentioning it here because we are trying to make sure we achieve something, and that will be unfortunate because we have our regional representatives there. We strongly believe they have to talk to them to understand that whatever they do, they are doing it against the laws of the land, so that they might be careful of implications ahead of them for them to change their mindset, make sure they do the right things.
Okay. So what should passengers do
when
we said drivers fail? Should we report them to the police?
Yes, because currently there is a culture which was not in Ghana, and now that culture, it looks like it has come to stay.
Okay.
You hear they've killed somebody here, they've killed somebody there. Initially, this is not part of our culture.
Yeah.
See, so we keep telling them, the passengers, you are many, the driver and the maid, they are just two. Don't pounce on them that you want to use force. If you do that, you might have fall foul to the law. Report them to the police and make sure. I am just praying they take 1-2 people to the law court and everybody will be steady. Make sure they comply with the laws of the land.
Mr. Agui, conversation is getting interesting.
Yes. Just to add before I come, you see, in areas where they adapt to our expenditure, because very often workers say our salaries does not reach anywhere.
Okay.
It's the cost of rent, the cost of transport, cost of utilities. These are the things that, and the cost of food, the medicine. Medicine is not something that you have to buy every day.
Okay.
But these are the things that we have to live with every day. The food, the transport, the utilities and other things. Now, I would expect or advise or appeal to get something like housing, the cost of building materials. There's no need to put higher duties on them and tax them so much. And then the cost of building materials will go up. Government is not able to provide enough accommodation. So workers are trying to, citizens themselves are trying to accommodate themselves. So you make it cheaper so that they can build. You make transport costs cheaper. The cost of transport will come down if the cost of spare parts doesn't go up. The cost of transport doesn't go up. That is the vehicle itself. When you import, it doesn't go up. If it comes to food, also coming down.
Okay.
So if you are able to afford 2 square meals a day, you have somewhere to put your head, and then when you are commuting to your workplace and back, the transport cost is so cheap for you to. If it comes to clothing, yes, that one is a luxury. You decide which one you want to wear. So you can buy the clothes or you want to buy the factory-made garments. It's up to you. It's a choice that you have to make. So these things that I have mentioned, there's no need putting so much premium in the cost of imports. So we can slash and make sure that these things are there. So even if I'm not giving you enough salary, the cost of these things are so cheap that you can afford them. So we should look at it. Okay. Now let me come to our manufacturing sector, which is a big problem. We always say the cost of production in this country is very high. So we cannot compete with what is coming in from abroad. Yeah. Yes, it's cheaper to import than to produce here. So if you look at what is being produced, largely about 40% are the beverage. Beverages that we produce here, the sweeteners, water, and all those things. It's the big business now. But how do we make sure that other sectors also come along? By looking at the costs in manufacturing, the taxes that they pay. These are corporate taxes that we can look at, because as a beverage manufacturer, sometimes you end up paying almost about 61 or 67% in terms of revenue to government. So how much is left for you to turn around your business? You understand? So these are areas that we need to look at, so that truly they can produce at a cheaper cost. Okay. Then we'll look at the cost of utilities, which is water and electricity. These two. Recently we had the PRC increasing the value to 14% and then water 4%. Now look, electricity is what we use to produce. And so therefore if electricity goes up, the reduction as we see now, even if the city comes to 5 cities, the cost of production will still go up. You understand? So if they use the dollar at 16%, 16 cities, in recalculating the utility, and they said we should pay as of 1st of May. From 1st of May, we started seeing the city reducing even up to now. So the cry that we've been crying over the years that the cost of production, the utility and the water is killing us. Then you come to slap on us 14%. And you say the city is going up. Now the city has come up to 4 cities. We've lost 7 cities.
Okay. I think, please hold on there. I'll get back to you on that. I have a quick question. Mr. Martin, Mr. Agro was talking about the fact of renting. Yeah. And renting is one of the major issues, especially in Accra and in Kumasi. When it comes to transportation, they've adjusted price by 15%. Food and beverages are doing well. Do you think landlords should also consider reducing their rent? Is it possible? Is it feasible?
Honestly, there will be pressure across every area for price reduction. When input costs begin to go down in terms of cement bags, in terms of gravels, in terms of other input that goes into what's the name? The building. There will be pressure across every landlord to reduce their prices. Also, in terms of their rent. Also, you could see those who are into real estate now, who normally price in dollar, okay, are not happy about the current development. Their margins that they add to these buildings and properties are too much. They make more than 200% on their investment because they price their assets in dollar terms. So the expectation is that because of the appreciation of the cedi, what you have paid earlier for your property or whatever will now be lowered in terms of cedi terms. So that helps in that regard. So definitely there will be pressure across board for anybody who render any service, who sell any item. The same way when dollar is going up, there's pressure across everybody for prices. Prices reflect all those sentiments and development. The expectation is that any item that we buy or we use, pressure will come from all the users as to whether prices, but whether the response will be positive or negative is another conversation. Okay. Because landlords, they are the difficult bit of it. What normally receive the immediate impact is the items that you go to the markets to buy. The fuel prices. Those ones you can see them having immediate impact, but rent has a rigidity in that regard.
Okay, for the sake of time, your last word. What do you expect the government to do in the aspects of
what I want a stronger coordination between the finance minister and the governor. What they should look at is this rally that we are enjoying now. What is the plan going on between these two parties that going into the short term, medium to the next quarter, how can we going to sustain and stabilize the environment so that we don't revert back to a place where we see an appreciation in the performance of the dollar? Then we can not plan on in the economy. Because when you see a bit appreciation of the city, you're not too certain what will happen in the future, and that will distort decisions and planning in the economy. So what they should do is that I'm happy that June IMF released some $360 million. It's coming. The Go board, they must quickly put their system in place and begin to work to rally a lot of forests from that regard.
Okay.
Policies should be put in place that after the stability, we shouldn't go back to a period of steady depreciating, so that Ghanaians will enjoy what is happening currently, and the economy will be good for all of us.
Thank you very much. Alhaji, your final words. What will you tell ordinary Ghanaians, passengers, drivers watching?
I'll do it in twofold.
Okay.
We will be very happy. We are in the crossroad. The Transport Ministry should come up and tell Ghanaians something, or the decrease, or any near future upward adjustment. So it looks like we are not known that when we do that, it becomes law for all of us. We expect the Transport Ministry also to come up and say something, so that those who are cheating their own neighbors should change their mindset.
Okay.
Secondly, we plead with Ghanaians that we want the best for ourselves, hence the decrease. So we should all try to comply and live happily.
Okay, thank you, Alhaji. Mr. Gray, your final words.
I will call on the government to impress upon the PRC for them to reduce their tariffs as soon as possible. Because the indicators that they used, we've seen it drop drastically. So as a matter of urgency, if they truly believe in paying fair prices, and then you use the CD against the dollar at 16 cedis in doing your calculation, soon as it starts dropping, we should see a daily reduction of electricity cost. It shouldn't be that, it should be where it is. And then they gain more, whilst we are paying more to them. It's not fair. So as a matter of urgency, they should come down and reduce the price. And also, we should look at our local sector, the manufacturing sector, where things have to come down. We had a positive discussion with the finance ministry, where he said in the media budget, we'll see a lot of nuisance taxes being removed. Those that are going to be removed, we don't know yet. But as he has said that has given us that assurance, ensuring that be it as it may, we will also rely upon him and then look at how fair we can also be in terms of trade and pricing. Okay. So we'll wait and see coming the mid-year what he has for Ghanaians, and then also what will happen in the near future.
Clement, just 2 seconds. But the benchmark value thing, was it not because of the challenge with the invoices that the importers fake invoices?
Actually, it was AGI that impressed upon government to increase, because they said it's hurting local industry.
Okay.
Which, for me, is neither here nor there. Right. Because it's a burden given to the ordinary Ghanaian.
All right.
We have to move on.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Agri. We have a few comments. This to GPRT, I think, quickly. Is that what specific stringent measures are they that GPRT putting in place to those who don't comply, apart from the passengers reporting to the police? This is from HM Joe. This is from Dennis, and he said consumer behavior is a complex and dynamic interplay of psychological, economic, and social factors. Among these influences, price is a critical determinant that significantly impacts consumer decision, that's making process. I think this situation is very complex, given that prices have gone down. Others too will be like reduction is affecting their old stock. So these are the few questions. Alhaji, would you like to respond to that quickly?
I thought to allow me to escape that. I will explain. I will stay played with them.
Okay.
We strongly believe we are working behind the scene and everybody will comply.
Okay.
So you should just give us some few time and...
Quickly, a quick one. You see, government itself would then have to take it upon themselves to bring in more buses.
More buses.
Not bigger buses, mini buses that will help. Because then the consumer will have the choice.
Okay.
If the trotro driver says I will not reduce,
They want to destroy our
business. They want to destroy your business.
Trotro driver said I will not reduce. They have an opportunity to join the public bus. So it should be there. The comfort should be there. For us to choose. This will reset the 24-hour economy.
I think the GPRTV said for them they are going to work speedily with the government in all these areas. They have a lot of cars available, so government should even worry at all. Yeah, so this is how we just draw the curtains down today's conversation. Has been very interesting with Mr. Samuel Agro, the General Secretary of Food and Beverage Association of Ghana, Alhaji Abbas Moro, that is the Public Relations Officer of Ghana Private Road Transport Union. We have Mr. Martin Ohin Enim, a finance expert and also Managing Director or Managing Partner for Pinnacle Legacy Consult. It has been a wonderful conversation. City appreciation, does it really is the cost of living? And I am your host, Clement Yaban Kwe. Don't go anywhere, stay right with Clock TV because we have amazing content just after this. Do enjoy the rest of the show.
Clog TV, beyond the policy.